Coming up Monday. Sorry, wait, what? Extreme.
Hello, and welcome to Chubby Boy Magic.
Hi.
Hello, and on this week's episode, hi, Brian said everything. On this week's episode, we have the wonderful, the great, the fantastic Bryan. Mr. Bryan, say hello.
Hello.
Okay. What's your name?
Bryan Nikkel.
Okay.
Man of few words.
It's gonna be a neck and neck for him and
It's
Mitch.
all going to be yes and no answers.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I know how to get it out of him. So who the fuck are you, and why the fuck are you here?
I'm just a guy. I play music. I
We found him
do
on the
motorcycle stuff.
We found him on the street, and he does really cool motorcycle stuff. Most importantly, he plays badass solos. Do you have... Okay, so I was joking around about this because Mr. Spanky was going to potentially not be here for this, and I was going to have Donnie and you come on and not talk about motorcycles at all and
Just
only
kick
music.
me off my
Oh,
own
yeah.
podcast.
Yeah, that would be a good one. We should do that sometime.
we should
You're
do
welcome to come along, too, of course. I mean,
Thank
you're a
you, thank
music
you.
fan,
Yeah,
and you and I have a lot in
I-
common musically.
We do.
Yeah.
We do. We've chewed a
We're
lot
the
of the same
age,
ground.
and we
yeah.
grew up listening to a lot of the same stuff, doing the same stuff.
Yeah.
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 Freestyle, BMX, skateboarding, punk
Yeah.
rock.
I'm
you know?
sure we cross paths.
There's no
And-
fucking way you did.
I mean,
I'm
I've
sure,
I've
yeah.
slept and done some drugs since then.
Well, me
and
too.
So it's like
Still doing it.
yeah, not so much, but
yeah.
yeah. So I mean, like, there's no way. As small as the BMX and skate scene was back then, like, and especially being in that part of the city, because
Right.
you were Meeker.
Well, McLeod.
McLeod.
Actually closer to you. I mean,
yeah,
we were
yeah, because I was Choctaw.
10 miles away from each other. you
And so
know.
it's like
1,000 miles
mean,
apart.
all the Renfro
Well,
brothers.
yeah.
It was
Yeah.
like,
Well, we were kids, so it was hard to travel very
Yeah.
far,
Yeah.
you know?
Yeah.
I mean, but
this is before.
I'm sure,
we were
we
driving.
had a lot of mutual friends
No
come to
shit.
find
Yeah.
out.
Yeah.
You know, so
Yeah.
I'm sure, yeah.
And there was only so many places to
Yeah.
ride
yeah.
out where we were at, and it was like everybody went there. You know, it was like you had the dirt jumps kind of over behind the Country Boy, you know,
Yeah.
on Choctaw and 15th,
15th.
yeah.
Yeah.
And then there was a guy, I forget his last name, Wade, something. He had a half.
Wilson?
No,
I think he's
no,
Deadpool.
No. But he had a quarter pipe over by Choctaw High School, and I know a bunch of
Dude.
people
Yeah.
would go there. And then there was a couple guys that had some mini halves, and
When you
the
found-
Renfro brothers that
Yeah.
like
I rode with them some.
yeah.
They were part of the freestyle Flyboys
right
with Charlie
right,
Long.
right.
And there was a guy from McLeod he was their Flatland guy.
Right.
Really good, JC Stacy.
Yeah, I
And
remember.
we
I
rode
remember
with
him.
him a lot.
Yeah.
Was that
And
it?
see, and we rode with. There was a guy, John Burns, and he was ramp, and he was with. He rode for Owls,
Okay. Yeah.
and then he was riding with Hoffman a lot
Ah,
because he was like, you know, he was doing 9-12-foot air, you know,
yeah,
and so
Which
yeah.
is
he,
absurd.
which is
Yeah.
absurd because
Yeah.
rest,
Well, back
rest
then,
of us
I
were
mean-
doing like
Shit.
rest of us were doing like a foot, and it feels like you're doing 10.
Yeah.
You pick up
Yeah.
a Coke
Yeah.
can and you're like,
Well,
I flew today.
Yeah, yeah.
Back then, I mean, 10 feet out was big air.
Was
you
a big
know,
air,
I mean,
and because you had Hoffman, that was like, I mean, he was still doing 15, 30 foot. You know,
Yeah, getting pulled by a dirt bike
yeah.
to do
Oh, yeah,
the
yeah,
ruler and like all the crazy shit. Because all
Yeah.
the VHS footage of that from back in the era is just absurd to watch. Some
Yeah.
dude like, I'm going to fling myself through the fucking
Oh,
air
yeah.
today.
yeah. He was always
Yeah.
loopy.
and
you know,
just-
I mean,
and fearless.
yeah.
Like,
Yeah, he has no fear of getting hurt, injured,
yeah.
death.
And then there
Yeah.
was Andy that used to have the big half pipe over behind when Owls was on Reno. And so, and seeing that was like 2.5 miles from my house. And so we were always riding.
I
you
don't
remember-
think I knew him.
Yeah, I knew his name was Andy. And,
Yeah.
and we would all kind of go there because he had a big, you know, he had a 16-foot wide half pipe in his backyard. And Owls was like 2 doors down from him, you know, because it was when it was in that little bitty building on Reno. And so
Right.
we were
I
all-
liked that shop.
yeah,
man.
yeah, I did too.
I loved going in there.
Yeah.
By that time, by the time Hoffman was getting pulled by the dirt bike and all that business, we had already kind of transitioned over into skateboarding.
Yeah.
I didn't really care for the way, freestyling was going the way of street.
Yeah.
Dave Volker
Yep.
rode
Yep.
for Dino,
Yeah.
He was kind of the dude that ushered all that in,
Yeah.
in a way. And man, I didn't care for it, and I did like, the way that skateboarding was going.
Absolutely.
At that time, guys kind of crossed back and forth. Dave Vanderspeck, do you remember him?
I do remember
died.
him.
He got hit by a car, man. But he did a lot of both.
Yeah.
And we just kind of transitioned over into skating.
That's how we actually ended up going from riding into more skating. And then it was like we were downtown all the time. Doing out at the old Penn Square ditches before, when the power plant was still there.
Yeah.
When Belle Isle was still
I never
when
got
Belle
to
Isle
skate
was still there. And
I was. that was you're 15 or 16. I lived in McLeod.
Yeah.
Like, how the
to
fuck
make
are you to
that
get
drive
there? Yeah.
We had
would be
Well, see, and that's like we
not
had
allowed.
we had one kid that was like 16, 17 that had a car, and so it was like there'd be 10 of us packed in a car.
Yeah. And like 18,000 bicycles.
And it's like, we're going skating. And so, or we'd go downtown and, we'd skate the parking garages and get chased and, and
like
you'd
that.
go
Did you
from
ever
one,
go
you'd go
over-
one from the one to the next to the next. And
It was a skating rink over off Western on the south side.
not Star Skate.
I can't remember the name of it. Skaterama.
Skaterama.
Yeah.
Because that was
It
also
had the
by,
little whoops.
in
the back.
Yeah.
But
That's cool.
yeah, on like during the summer months, like 2 nights out of the week, they would shut it down for roller skaters.
Yeah.
And they had a couple of different sized launch ramps set up. And
Fuck yeah.
dude, it was fun,
Yeah.
man. You're inside in the AC.
Oh,
and,
yeah.
You'd get snaked a lot.
Yeah.
But
You'd have to jump out there and get it.
Yeah.
snaked.
But, where like you're ready to go and someone
somebody
else
drops
jumps
right
in front
drops
of
in
you.
front of you.
Yeah.
You're literally like teetering as you're getting ready to go. And somebody goes in front of you, and you're like, holy shit.
fuck.
Yeah.
That was when I was growing up. I was shit at skateboards, so I did inline aggressive because that was the only thing I could kind of do. But there was always the 2 guys that were the lure: the dude that had the car or the truck, and the dude that had the pipe of some sort.
Yeah.
And I wound up being that at both points in my life because I was like the kid that had the car because I had to go. I went to T1, so I didn't get held back, but I was older than all the kids.
Yeah.
And then there was a big trash where someone was like, dude, there's like this quarter pipe over here. Go get your dad's truck. And I was like, yeah.
Yeah.
At 13, I stole my dad's truck to go get this quarter pipe. And then put it. So my dad's driveway is all weird. It's like this 45, so we didn't have a place to put it. So we put it on the 45, and like we would just like we didn't do it the way that you normally would. So you just try to hit the rail and you just slide the fuck down into the street.
Damn.
And then these kids try to steal it, and I was like, dude, it's a piece of shit. Like, good luck. Like, they drug it out of his driveway and it fell apart. And I was like, well, you get to clean it up now, fuckheads. So,
yeah.
But like that's I was talking to somebody about that at one point when we ran into the guys that had that cool old skate band or the BMX band from Moore.
Yeah, because that was the bike shop, Wheelorama.
Willerama was on
Walker or
Walker,
44th and Walker,
yeah, something like that.
Yeah,
That's where I
'cause
saw Eddie Fiola,
Eddie
Fiola and Adam Young, however you pronounce
yeah,
his
yeah.
last name. But,
I'm bad at pronouncing last names.
yeah.
If I asked you to do yours,
Now, that was a shop,
Yeah.
and they used to put on some. They had
that's
a team.
some real shit. Yeah,
They had a team like is like for what you would call a pro-am team. You know, they had it was probably the best riders in the area, and they were serious about it. But they would do shows, and then because that was back in the time when Owls was putting on big shows.
Yeah,
and especially the one up in Edmond was putting on because they used to do everything in that. They had that part that they'll still do have that big parking lot, and so they would put ramps and they would have people out doing stuff. But,
right. Yeah.
But Southside,
it was a big thing then.
It was a big. It was a big.
It was underground, but it was a lot of people did it.
Right.
Like
and
Rad the movie.
Yeah. Did you get to watch it when it re-released like a couple months ago?
No. I mean, I have it.
Yeah.
So I've seen it a million times.
Still haven't seen it yet. I wanted to go watch it.
I mean, we saw it in the theater when it came out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then we would rent it just to watch
I saw it at Heritage
the
Park
intro
3.
and the outro. When
Just that?
We wouldn't even watch the movie.
Like,
we would just watch the credits roll
Yeah.
and watch. It was like Martin Aparejo, Woody Itson, Eddie Fiola and Ron Wilkerson.
Because when he came through was that 86, 85? 87. So, I mean, it was...
I've got the poster. I got it signed by back then.
And
that's cool.
That was
I've got it framed.
That was big. I mean,
cool.
for Oklahoma... I mean, that was...
Yeah, because it was this...
He was like a rock star.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
he still is, man.
Yeah,
He's a stunt man now.
Yeah.
He's done I don't know. He's been in several movies. He did that Indiana Jones movie that had Sean Connery in it. He did some stunts in that.
Raiders of the
Last Crusade.
The Last Crusade. Yeah.
That movie. Yeah. Temple of Doom we can write off. No one likes Temple of Doom. Brian's that's my favorite one. I'm like,
no, Raiders of the Lost Ark.
Yeah. Raiders of the Lost Ark and the Crystal Skulls. I actually like the Crystal Skulls.
Brian, have you seen the Crystal Skull?
I haven't. No.
You're not missing out. I don't know. I can't believe we're friends. It's... If you look, all right,
it's not my favorite. Raiders, the first one, by far, hands down, the best one.
So the Crystal Skull's kind of like Return of the Jedi or something.
Yeah, I guess. I don't know. I've never seen Star Wars, so
really.
Yeah, I grew up with car stuff. Like so when I joke around
that
about,
is a cool table, by the way.
Thank you. This is a drag slick off of a front motor dragster, and this is period. This is probably from the late '60s or early '70s off of a Slingshot.
Badass, man.
I needed a table. And I was like,
table.
And I won't divulge how many zeros come after the first digit, but this is not a cheap table.
I wouldn't imagine.
I didn't buy it, but
hey, it was free 99.
It was free. It's on rent. If you know how they loan like an art piece, like if I had like a fucking Rembrandt in here, like I didn't buy it, it was lent to me. That's basically what this is.
Yeah.
But fuck, I can't even remember where we're going with this.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway,
hadn't watched Star Wars.
Oh yeah, I haven't watched Star Wars. No, when I grew up, I was building motors and stuff, and like doing construction. So like I never watched. It was weird. My dad doesn't like sports, but we listened to every OU game for football, and I was like, what does that mean? He's like, I don't know. I just listened to it in the background. But like I've seen all the Back to the Futures because the DeLorean was in it. He really liked that, but that was it. I never watched any Star Wars, and people are amazed by the fact.
That is crazy.
Especially when you meet me, they're like, "Oh yeah,
I mean, Princess Leia, gold bikini."
Oh yeah, I've seen bits and pieces of it. Anyway. So okay, before we get too far, so Brian, how I met you was by happenstance because you happened to be at an event where I was at. And then I realized that you've been somebody I've followed for a long time in your fabrication skills. So before we get too far into all the other stuff, because we almost talked about not doing any motorcycle content because it'd be hilarious. Your bike, one of your bikes, is one of my favorite bikes I've ever seen before.
I like two of his bikes.
I didn't really like FXRs, and I didn't realize that's what your silver one is. But the fuck, I love that bike.
Yeah.
Well, thanks. Man.
The paint on that, the black and silver.
It could be fucking pink as far as I care right now because I fucking love that thing.
I mean, it looks good. And
Who painted that?
Then El Flaco.
Randy Branham.
Okay.
He's out there in McLeod.
Oh, okay.
He's a friend, and I worked at Brass Balls Cycles for a long time, and he had worked at Tinker. He bought one of our kit bikes we were offering.
Right.
And we did a lot of help with it. You know, he'd bring stuff to the shop that needed to be machined or whatever, or just even questions. And we just kind of became friends. Yeah. Come to find out he was, my mom was a teacher and he was one of her second graders
that's cool.
When he was in second grade, So, we just became friends.
And he killed that fucking paint job. He murdered that thing. There's a arrest warrant out for how good that thing is. Because it's, the first time I saw it, I was like, man, that's really cool. And then every time I look at it, it's always like, man, that's cool as fuck. I like that. I like that. But I didn't know. You've taught me a lot about Harleys and FXRs and all that stuff. Because not having any, you don't really get nerdy about it until you fucking get one. But you've taught me a lot about the FXRs that I would want to get or stay the fuck away from. And then I didn't realize that you built El Flaco because that's one of the first bikes I remember seeing in publication and online where I was like, that is what makes me want to have a motorcycle.
Well, thanks.
Yeah.
Man.
And then I met you and I was like, hey man. And I was like, I don't want to be too weird, but you're the shit. And you're like, yeah, you are weird, so it's fine. So, but all right. So one of the things I wanted to bring you on about was talking about the history of all this stuff because you've done a lot in the industry. because you worked at basketballs, and now where you work at is named
OKC Chop Shop.
Yes, thank you.
Yeah.
It's like humble brag, big pitch. Also proud sponsors. Thank you, Shelby, for the mini fridge.
Oh, yeah.
yeah, I don't know if you recognize that, but that's where it came from. I'm pretty sure it's got a sticker. Yeah, right there.
I thought it looked familiar.
He was like, "Do you want a mini
The
fridge?"
stickers, he got a Ramrito sticker on there.
Yeah.
you
I don't.
know.
Who's Ramrito?
Ram, he was a friend of ours, Landon Ram.
Okay.
And
Obviously, this is the memorial sticker because it
right,
says 76 to 15. But
Yeah, he passed away. We were out at Born Free actually when it happened. He was on his honeymoon.
Oh, okay. That's
and
bummer.
wow.
got ill.
Oh.
They were able to get him back here. They were out of the country, and they were able to get him back here, and he just never made it out of the hospital.
Oh.
R.I.P. dude.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was gonna ask about that the other day, and then I just kept forgetting, and I was like, and then someone was walking through, one of my buddies was like, "Nice mini fridge. Who's that?" And I was like, the fridge came to me via a friend.
Yeah.
I'm assuming it's a friend of theirs.
I don't know.
With
Yeah.
stickers.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then ACAB.
He was a good one, man. He was a cool dude. you
That's
know?
it's always unfortunate to lose somebody cool, and then whenever we lose not somebody cool, we're like, but they were still kind of cool to an extent, or they did this
Yeah.
funny thing or whatever. But
Yeah.
yeah.
Well, he paid his bills. Like Bill Burr.
Yeah, no shit. Yeah. So you work at the Chop Shop, which we've had Shelby on. His episode's out currently right now, but so he was talking more about the maintenance and dialing in that side of things. But then you do
Yeah.
the fabrication side of things. So
Yeah, I like to build stuff.
that's one way to put it.
I don't know. I can do mechanic work. I don't really want to.
Right.
I will on stuff that I'm building.
Yeah.
But I don't really want to do that as a daily thing.
Yeah.
You know
So
what I'm saying? I like to build mainly chopper stuff,
Yeah.
but is what I enjoy. But
So
Some of the
how'd you get
baddest
into
shit.
the
Yeah.
fabrication?
really, I mean, I
Just
worked
chopper shit?
construction for years. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
When you say
And
you work
then,
construction, like were you doing home builds or commercial?
I did a bunch of different stuff. I did concrete. I did
Oh, I got you.
insulation. I've framed. I've roofed.
You
I've
flat work. I'm gonna call you
done-
next time I need help.
Yeah.
Like, come over here and help me float this motherfucker because I suck at it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I did my first real job. I did precast septic tanks. I
Oh,
did that
shit.
for 4 years
Yeah.
almost, and doing that. Sometimes the forms,
Yeah.
they were steel, and they got rough treatment. They were old, and sometimes things would
Right.
break, and
Yeah.
and you'd have to weld, a hinge on a retention box
Mhm.
form or something,
Right.
And we just had a crappy stick welder, and
Look,
I kind of got. I mean, I could stick two pieces of metal together,
Right,
yeah,
with
right.
with a stick welder, and then
you're like,
I
Stevie
went
Wonder.
years without welding, and started working at Ridley, years later, which is actually what got me out of construction.
Right.
So how did you? Okay. So were you? What was your first motorcycle?
a Harley? Yeah.
Okay.
The first one I owned was a Harley
Okay.
Sportster. Yeah.
883, 1200.
883.
Cool.
Yeah.
Cool, man. He's so far the first one to actually be honest about having an 883.
Oh,
Everyone
yeah?
else is like,
Well,
no, I
you
had
know,
1200. It was the fastest thing ever.
Yeah.
But okay, so you had that, and then how did you get introduced to Ridley? Like, were you buying parts or?
No, they built automatic 750s, mainly catered towards women, and it was a
Yeah.
lot of proprietary stuff, like
Right.
the drivetrain and everything.
Yeah.
And anyway, it's nestled in over off the area of town where Kimray is.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
They had a sign out front said now hiring, and plus my brother, he's a CAD guy at Kimray.
I didn't
and,
know your brother does CAD.
Yeah, he's been there doing CAD for 20
I gotta get your brother on soon. We can talk about
years,
CAD.
Maybe 25.
Damn.
Just
He's
trying to
been
put
doing it a
everybody to
while,
sleep.
you know, but
I want to do a command prompt. I want to do copy, so I'm going to control. Yeah, that's what I do for a living. It's CAD, and it's
Yeah.
boring as fuck.
yeah, he does some cool stuff.
Yeah,
you
so
know.
do I, but it's still boring as shit.
Yeah, he still loves it. But no, he would come across, Tim Davis,
Yeah.
friend
Tim.
of ours.
Right.
Tim worked there. Well, Tim was kind of Clay Ridley's right-hand man. Tim did, all the R&D and mock-up of,
Right.
everything would get built and then it'd get farmed out,
Okay.
and mass produced.
Yeah, that makes sense,
way.
yeah.
But the first run was
You
built
gotta-
there in the shop.
Right.
You
by
got to
Tim.
figure it out.
You
Oh, I didn't know
Right.
Tim built all that.
Right. Yeah.
And now Tim builds AK-47.
Yeah, he was doing that then too, though.
Dude,
he's always done that. He would
me-
just sneak it in on the side.
That makes more sense, dude.
but-
He was like, "Do you want to see my closet?" And I was like, "Sure." And he opens it up, like, "Holy fuck!" Dude.
Yeah,
He's
yeah.
like, "Do you want to see what will blow up a trunk?" I'm like, "No, I'm good."
Yeah, he's been doing that a long time.
He is a character.
And there's a story to that too, how he got into to doing it for a living.
Yeah.
But anyway, yeah, my brother would come over and help Tim out occasionally with CAD stuff because Tim was, trying to figure it out. They use the same SolidWorks.
Yeah.
They use the same program. So my
Just
brother
different
John
delivery.
would
Yeah.
come over, help him out with that business. And anyway, I found out they were looking for some people. So I went and put in an app and they hired me. And
So at that point, how old are you?
I was married and had 2 kids. Early 30s,
Okay.
I guess.
So don't
Nice.
wait until like so we just had Cal on, but one of the things that was talked about was you can get into an industry when you're not in your 20s. You can wait until your 30s.
Right.
Yeah.
You can still live your
yeah.
dream. Still,
Yeah.
there's still time, everybody.
Right.
I have figured out the buttons.
I have a
That's pretty
dream.
sweet.
Anyway, but so you go over there. So at that point, did you have any real experience in the motorcycle industry?
No, I didn't.
Okay, so
No,
you just
that
kinda
was kinda where
blindly-
it started.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I had experience building stuff,
Yeah.
but mostly wood.
Yeah,
you
you're like,
know?
I can
I
stand
mean,
two
and
by
it's
four.
the same thing, really. I mean, you're just changing mediums.
Yeah.
It's true.
You know?
Yeah.
But, growing up doing BMX and stuff, I mean,
We were building ramps all the time.
Right. Building
we were-
I bet
ramps
his
and,
ramps
and
were way better.
rebuilding your bicycles.
Yeah,
right,
I mean,
yeah.
your bicycle was a machine. It was dialed
absolutely.
in. It was everything worked perfect.
Yeah.
There
'Cause-
was no loose crank
Yeah.
or hubs or
Yeah, because you're
'Cause
doing
it-
shit.
Well,
Yeah.
and
you would take it completely apart and redo it every winter.
Yep.
you know?
I feel like you did. I feel like Spanky.
No,
okay.
I actually did. I do it in my bedroom.
Yeah.
And, yeah. No, it
I'm
was.
glad.
It was like, yeah.
so you really, I mean, you kind of learn
Yeah, you
quite a
learn-
bit
because
from that when you're
there were times
10, 12 years old.
Yeah,
You know?
there were
I mean,
times when I was, 7 miles from my house out at 10 Acre Lake.
Yeah.
You
You gotta get back home somehow.
and I'm like 11, on a bike.
Yeah.
And 7 miles away where I didn't have a cell phone.
Right.
There were no cell phones. There was, I'm gonna
Smoke
have
signals.
I'm gonna have to
Yeah.
call
banging rocks together.
yeah.
call my parents, and
You still gotta get to
hey,
the 7-Eleven.
can you
to call
come
your
get me?
parents.
And it's
Yeah.
gonna be like, where are you at? And I'm gonna be like, 23rd and Peebly, and it's gonna be like, what the fuck?
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I got real
it's
good
like
at lying.
my ass is gonna get beat, and so you really had to figure out
Yeah,
like
because it's
Yeah.
how
it's
to.
So
getting back home.
you learn not to cross thread bolts and
Yep.
just things
Yeah.
like that.
Uh-huh. Yeah.
Uh,
and that's one of the things that like a lot of the kids I know now that like they're into cars or whatever, but they never really took Legos and put them together or
Right.
just basic stuff. I was like, you gotta go like buy the shittiest
Yeah.
thing you can and don't feel bad when you
See, my
have
Yeah.
a Healy coil or something.
get
My
the
Lego-
fundamentals.
my
Yeah.
Lego set was a box. We didn't have the build a Porsche. Or
Right.
build
The
a drag.
Millennium Falcon.
Yeah, it was a box of
it
blocks.
was
Yeah.
a box of blocks, and it
Yeah.
was like,
Just
all right,
squares.
how
It
do
was
I make that a Porsche?
Imagination.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Reading
Exactly.
Rainbow. So you start over there. How's the first day? Are you nervous or do you have that confidence where like I got this shit, and then like 2 weeks later you're like fuck.
No, I was stoked. I mean, I was getting out of construction and into something that I thought was really cool. Building
gotten into
motorcycles.
something.
He's like,
you know,
I'm in
and-
air conditioning. I will fucking do what it has.
Yeah, exactly.
It's
Yeah,
just-
I'm
wait.
inside out
No,
of the
yeah, it's like-
elements.
yeah, I was like,
and that was kind of the part of the deal. It's like, man, I'm getting older. I was
Right.
still young, but I'm getting older. I've been out in the elements all these years working. Man, I need to find a
do
way
this.
to get out of this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And do something that I can do as I grow older.
Right.
And so yeah, that's I went in there and just did what I was trained to do, basically.
Yeah.
I mean,
Just-
it was somewhat of an assembly line, if you will. It was, one guy would do several different things, mount the tires, put the front end on, the swing arm, just, all this stuff. And then it'd roll to a different station, and a guy would do, the brake calipers and the floorboards and, several different things.
Right,
and it
right.
would work its way around through like 5 different stations, and so, over the years, you learn all the stations.
Yeah, because you're going to rotate in and out.
Yeah.
You got to go, like, I'm the brake caliper guy and swing arm guy. I'm
Yeah.
back half today. And then tomorrow, next week, I'm front half guy.
Yeah.
Which makes you more well-rounded as a, repair or assembly guy.
Yeah.
So, and that was all the 750, like, automatic bikes and all that
Yeah,
stuff?
yeah. And it was a pretty big deal. I mean, we had dealers all over the country, and shipped quite a few to Canada. We did 478, I think, bikes one year.
Oh, wow.
I think that was
Wow.
our biggest year, I think that was 08 maybe.
So,
Wow.
06, something like that. But
so it's a pretty popular product.
yeah,
And
it
you-
was at the time.
And you had a lot of
yeah.
pride in that, too. Did you see a lot in the city locally, and you would go like, hey, I probably put that one together, or...
I don't really see, and didn't then, many around here.
I don't think I've ever seen one in person.
But like,
No.
we'll go to Sturgis or something, and just be hanging out somewhere, and there's a Ridley.
yeah, look
Nice.
at that.
Yeah.
That's neat.
That's crazy.
You're like, oh, it's got my name on it.
And I mean, there were different models, so they were all basically the same, but one
Right,
might have
right.
a 16 on the front, and another one might have a 21 on the front, or whatever,
Right.
But
I
they were
respect that.
I mean, they were what they were. They were 750 automatics, catered towards women, really, but they were well built bikes,
Yeah, and that-
And that makes a big difference.
yeah,
Something you could
Yeah.
actually use and not repair all the time.
Yeah.
right,
Yeah, that's
they're pretty simple too.
Not like
They're-
the Chinesium bullshit you can buy now. And
yeah,
Man,
yeah.
the way
ride it twice and the plastic gears inside just all melt together.
Yeah.
I worked at a scooter shop, Atomic Brown, when I was in high school, and I was putting together
Okay.
all these little scooters and stuff. And so there was there was one importer that would bring stuff made from China, but they would rebrand it as Made in America and all that stuff. And those were
Was
actually
that
pretty,
that Highbird maybe?
no, it was called Genuine. It was the name of the importer. And then they brought in like the Stella, which looks like an old Vespa, and they brought in the
Right.
buddies.
Okay.
that were supposed to
Buddies
use-
and
Okay, they were
stuff.
Yeah.
scooters.
Yeah, so I have
okay.
I have a buddy that I didn't assemble, but because that was a couple years after I left. But and those were really good. But then there was a bunch of Chinese bikes that weren't the importer ones that were getting sold by like Steve's Wholesale, and like people would bring them in and like, oh yeah, this thing doesn't work. I'm like, yeah, this is a huge piece of shit.
Right.
You spent
You bought it at Steve's.
yeah.
What did you expect?
Right.
Well, and then I felt bad a lot of times because it's like, this is how I get to work. I'm like, fucking, what have you done? You're taking a 125. to get to
Yeah.
work. It's like, walk.
Yeah.
So buy a bike. And so I had one guy that brought it was called the Peoples. And I was like, that's funny. It's coming from China. That's Peoples.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
Republic.
So, yeah. So I was like, that's the Republic bike over there. And it was based off of one of the ones that we sold, but it was much shittier. And I would repair it, and it would come in like a week later. And he's like, I don't know, man. It doesn't work anymore. I'm like, okay, so you bought that
Yeah.
bike for $900, and
Yeah.
then you've spent $400 on repair bills, which puts you at fucking $1,300 in this thing.
Yeah, now you're into a Vespa.
Well, and even at the time, the Vespas were fairly expensive, and we didn't sell those. But with the buddies were like $1,200.
Yeah.
And I was like, do you
Yeah.
get a buddy? And like, that thing goes for fucking ever. And so finally the guy was like, well, I guess I can trade it in. So I think he yeeted it into a truck. He had an excuse to get one because I think the thing was he couldn't get one.
Oopsie.
Yeah. But,
Yeah.
but that was, like you see these direct to consumer bikes now where they don't really have a dealership network, but people are buying them and they're not really great bikes. And then it leaves a sore taste in their mouth about motorcycling or riding because they're like, oh, this piece of shit. So when
Right.
you sell a
Yeah.
product that's actually nice and built in America and here and you could get parts, it's nice.
Right. Yeah.
Okay, so you work at Ridley and then you come into the era of brass balls.
Yeah, when the economy dropped out back pre-2010, I don't remember what year
dark
that
days.
was, 09 or something. Yeah, the
Yeah.
dark
It
days.
hit everywhere else about 07 and it hit Oklahoma about 9-10.
Yeah. When that all happened, our build numbers went way down. The demand went way down, and
Right.
it eventually shut the business down.
Okay.
We had even transitioned to try to stay alive. we were still building motorcycles, but we were also building motorized bicycles.
Fuck yeah.
Yeah, and they were pretty cool. They'd do, I don't know, 35-ish, 40.
Right.
Pretty good on a bike.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And we sold a lot of them, a lot of like RV people and stuff.
Yeah, 'cause
Right,
they don't want
right.
to. They don't want a scooter. They don't want to. So were these the ones that had the cool like retro tank on the head tube and stuff?
Well, no, it was actually made into the top tube.
Okay.
They were the bicycles we would get were Felt was the name of the brand.
Right.
Yeah.
F-E-L-T,
Right.
Felt. And like their top tube is kind of ovalized and pretty big. They're made to look like a motorcycle.
Right,
Really.
right.
They had different, like the 1901 looked like a Harley pea shooter, and they had one that looked like a Triumph. It was green,
Right.
But they had this kind of fat ovalized top tube, and so we would drill holes. We'd drill a filler cap hole, and we made had it machined, a little cap that would mount on it, and then the fuel valve, and we would line it with the same stuff that they use to line airplane wings.
That's cool.
Nice.
It's like a
It's that
two-part
rubberized.
stuff.
It's that, you mix it in.
And it worked,
Yeah.
And,
How many did you guys make those for a little while?
Yeah, man, I don't know how many. I mean, not just a shit ton, but maybe 150, 200 of them. I mean, quite a few.
You could say rare. If you find one.
Yeah.
Very rare. Very collectible.
Yeah.
Now highly collectible.
So yeah, when that all came to an end, I was I was still helping Clay out, Clay Ridley, some like part-time work.
Right.
And then actually I was working for his daughter's husband, who did stuff for Scott's Fertilizer.
Right.
So I was helping him out with some stuff and just kind of bridging the gap, feeling out
what
I was going to do.
Yeah. Preparing yourself.
And Dar Holdsworth, who owned Brass Ball Cycles, or Darwin Motorcycles is actually what the company was named. But he had contacted Clay and asked Clay if he knew any motorcycle builders, and Clay
boy,
gave
do
me
I
my
have
number
the guy
and,
for you. I mean, I tell people
so
legit.
I went and talked to Dar. Dar called me, and I went and talked to him and started over there, doing that.
That was, if you're familiar with Oklahoma City, that's the location that was over by the big Goodwill over off of Reno, right?
Yeah.
Over by the
it started out
market.
at Sam Will's shop.
Yeah.
Sam was building the bikes, and
So-
Dar bought one off
Okay.
of Sam, and someone liked it, and so Dar sold it to him and had
That's how it
Sam
always
build another one, and it just snowballed.
And Sam's like, God damn it.
yeah. And that snowballed into, Dar's a businessman. He's a marketer.
He's like,
so
I'm making money.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
He's like, I'm making stupid money now.
Yeah, the light bulb went boom, boom, boom.
So he came up with the Darwin Motorcycles thing.
Yeah.
And had Sam building the bikes, and that went on for 3 years. The bikes were called Brass Balls Bobbers
Yeah.
at the time.
Yeah.
And then
I remember that because I wanted one.
Yeah.
so
Yeah, they were.
were you guys on, was it Motorcycle Mania, or I remember seeing the shop on television somewhere.
Yeah, we were on...
Was it Built Off?
Well, we were on a few different things, so I'm not sure which one. We were on one of those Motorcycle Mania deals where that Jay, I can't think of his last name, man. He always wore a do-rag and like the denim shirt with the frayed cut-off sleeves.
Yeah, I'm trying to the Affliction shirt.
Yeah,
right before it got really
one of those guys.
I'm trying to remember
yeah.
who the fuck that was.
Yeah.
I remember that. Yeah.
I can picture it in my head because, like, I was telling you when I met you.
What was that?
Jay Barberi.
Jay
That's his
Barberi.
name.
That's
Okay.
right. That's right. Yeah.
Because like right when you were doing all that stuff, that would have been what? Well, that was 2010.
Probably, yeah.
So,
09 or 10, something like that. That would probably not too long after I started working over there.
Yeah, because like I remember being a little kid. Well, I say a little kid. I was like 10, 12, and like when Motorcycle Mania with Jesse James came out.
Yeah.
Like how, like that was like freedom, and then like the next, like I don't remember, second or third one, they're riding through Mexico on their choppers, and it's him and Kid Rock, and I'm like, fucking, I don't want to hang out with Kid Rock that long, but like,
Yeah.
and then now I'm like old enough, I'm like, I don't know if I want to hang out with Jesse James that long. He might be an asshole. And I see him.
I'd take Kid Rock over Jesse James.
I feel like Kid Rock would be more just like you won't believe what he did after this. Jesse's like, I don't drink, I don't do drugs, and you're like, and Kid Rock's over here like, I bang 8 gram rock. Allegedly, not defamatory, but
he's the life of the party. I'm sure.
I brush my teeth with Bush Light in the morning.
What's up, OFR? So you were over at. So it was Darwin Motorcycles, and then so you're putting together bikes over there, fabricating stuff.
Yeah.
So was Sam? Did you take over fabricating frames, or was Sam still doing that for you guys?
No, Sam was still doing it. Yeah,
because he kind of bread and butter for him's building frames. He built a lot of frames for Orange County Choppers, as I found out.
Yeah.
Until I guess they took over.
Yeah, he I guess he sold them the frame jig.
He's like, fucking, I'm tired of this shit.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I'm sure it was. I mean, back then they were going and blowing. I mean, it was pretty busy,
right?
So there's no way he could keep up,
right?
I mean,
because Sam's always been a small outfit kind of guy, and
well, at that time, man, he probably had 10 or 12 dudes working for him there.
Yeah,
I mean, it was a pretty big deal, man.
Which is crazy to think about. That
so he was building the Ridley frames too.
Oh, okay, I didn't know that.
At least one model. He was building what we called the chopper.
Yeah.
Wow. Sharp Fabrication, Sharp Metal Fab out in Noble, Oklahoma, was building the regular bikes. They were called auto glides, but he was building the regular frame, and then Sam was building the chopper frames.
Yeah, Sam's like, I just built all these fucking choppers.
Yeah.
And he's like, some of them are cooler than others.
His wife's bike, Leslie, she had that. It was a Ridley.
Yeah.
Sam had built the frame. Sam built the bike.
Yeah, I'm trying to remember.
It was a Ridley.
I think he showed me a Polaroid of it because Sam doesn't have a regular phone. He has a flip phone.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
So I bought my...
He is old school as hell.
God. Sam's a cool dude.
He is a cool dude.
I asked when I was buying the motorcycle trailer I got from him when I was buying it, I was like, hey, do you know what a podcast is? And he was like, nope. And I had to explain that. I was like, would you be interested? And he was like, I don't know.
Which is old man for nope.
And I was like, well, I'm not going to push that any further. He lets me come up to the shop every so often, but he's like, don't fucking text me. And he's like, just fucking call me.
Yeah.
And you better think about it before you call. He's like, I'm not going to say no, but like, I might be busy.
Yeah.
But he's super cool. He's been doing his drag racing shit forever.
Yeah, I hadn't talked to him in a while.
He's the same as...
I used to talk to him several times a week. I mean, the whole time I was at Brass Balls, he was... like I had his number on speed dial. I talked to him all the time back then.
Trying to just coordinate what's going on. And
that and figuring things out. I mean, I learned a lot off that dude, man. He,
he's
just, you have a problem with something, call Sam.
Dude, the knowledge,
he'll
the
walk
knowledge
you
he
through
has,
it.
and that I've heard that from
multiple people.
Oh, yeah. He's a wealth of knowledge, man.
Yeah.
Just about a lot of shit, too.
Yeah.
So when we went to go pick up the trailer, he's with a guy that has a pro mod, and he's in that shop, so they kind of share shop space. And he was talking about that drag race bike that came out of Finland.
Yeah,
he's
like, shown that.
Yeah, and like that thing was crazy. He's like, oh yeah, I advised that guy on this, and he's like, this thing's fucking fast as shit.
Yeah,
like yeah.
And my uncle, him and my uncle knew each other because my uncle used to race back in the 80s.
Oh yeah,
and had a race team, and so he was like, oh yeah, I know him. And
wow.
He's like, that piece of shit still owes me $5.
Yeah.
He didn't say it.
He's dead now, so
good luck getting it.
But I remember like being around that, and it's like, oh yeah, he's like, oh yeah,
he's a living
I built
legend,
that.
dude.
I built that. I built, it's like
land speed record holder.
Oh yeah,
I mean, the dude's like the Dale Earnhardt.
Oh yeah,
top fuel motorcycle racing. He is a living legend.
Well, and then I think it's interesting to see when you go back and look at motorcycling as a whole for the industry. A lot of people think, oh, the East Coast, the West Coast guys, and then that's it. There's nothing going on out here in the middle of fucking nowhere. And it's like we have a wealth of shit in Oklahoma.
Oh yeah,
where some of the coolest shit is coming out.
Like I said, he was when Orange County Choppers was big,
banging,
with the TV. But it's like you said, their frames are coming out of Oklahoma.
Mm-hmm.
I mean,
all that
they weren't coming out from some guy on the West Coast.
Right.
Yeah.
When they were doing like the Spider bike and the Fire bike and all that stuff, Sam was still still doing all that. You know,
Yeah.
that was before they got the jig, and he flew up there and showed them how to set it all up and all that business. But
dialing in here.
they, you know, I remember watching that footage on the show,
Right?
Yeah,
where they're building like the ladders that were on the back of the frame.
Right.
He's like,
Right.
"Take it better, asshole."
yeah.
Somebody was talking about how they were a production assistant, like a camera guy. And it was early on, because Paul Sr. is a really talented iron worker and like welder and all that stuff. That's how he cut his teeth on all that stuff.
Oh,
Right.
yeah.
And like, but he's like, I'm not a TIG guy. I can braze shit and stick weld and all that stuff. But he's like, I know how to weld. I know what I need to do.
Well, there's an art form to MIG welding too.
Yeah, no shit.
And like being an iron worker.
Yeah,
you know,
and he's got a whole wealth of life that happened before the show and with his other business when he was doing all that. And this camera guy was like, yeah, it was funny because like, you know, his son's trying to like stick fucking shit together, and his son's over like, oh no, it's not working. And his dad would walk over like, God damn it, just just try this setting. No, why did you cut it this way? No.
Yeah.
And then, you know, eventually he became a very talented fabricator in his own right, but like, you know, it takes a while to get used to it.
Yeah.
But,
Rick Petco that worked there. That dude solid.
Yeah.
Man.
Yeah.
I mean, he's the one.
Yeah.
You know, at OCC that really did the shit.
Yeah.
Right.
know,
Right.
And then he didn't want to be on air. He's just like, fuck, I don't want to do this.
Right.
shit.
Yeah. It's just like, man, can't we just build a motorcycle?
Yeah, do I have-
You know, we
Yeah.
don't need all this drama and shit.
Throwing
you know?
chairs and shit at each other. It's not the WWE, man.
Drama
Yeah.
doesn't make money.
Yeah.
Right,
There was a cool
wait, no,
show.
drama does make money.
Well, it did. Yeah.
Yeah.
It did for a long time.
Yeah.
But there was a really cool show on CMT for a while. It wasn't on all that long, but it was called Build or Bust.
Oh, okay.
I remember
Yeah.
that. I remember that.
It was
yeah.
old Russ Mitchell and Kirk Taylor, Custom Design Studios up in Northern California. He's still a thing. Kirk's a cool dude.
Who was the other guy you said?
Russ Mitchell,
Is he the dude-
Exile.
Yeah, I was gonna say Exile.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
The Brit.
So they were kind of like the hosts, if you will, of the show. And they would guide you along, kind of, you know, talk you through things. But you'd go on there and they gave you this budget and you'd pick all your parts and order your shit and you would build this bike. And if you could get it started and riding in this certain time frame, you got to keep the bike.
That's cool.
You know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And man, that's how like Sacha Kraus Motors.
Yeah, I was gonna say
does a lot of
but yeah.
bagger stuff.
Yeah.
You know, Kraus. That's how Sacha got started.
Oh, really?
Into the industry. You know?
Well, and it's funny.
I mean, Sacha's dad is a machinist.
So
also.
he's got some background.
So, yeah.
Well, it's like my dad, when, you know, because he grew up drag racing and shit like that, and he's like, I was a machinist, and he's like, yeah, they were, you know, before, because it was like Corvette Summer and Funny Car Summer and all that stuff. He's like, those, they get like the Mongoose, and then those guys that were drag racing, they got popularity and novelty out of being.
I have a Hot Wheel, the Mongoose.
Fuck yeah, you do.
Funny car.
Yeah, back in the day when Don Perdone was out there doing that shit, but like, so it was Don Perdone. He was the snake, or was he the mongoose? Now I'm thinking about it.
I don't know.
I don't remember. It's because that's old era drag racing, but
I remember those. Though,
yeah,
you know, whenever I was a kid, seeing them in books and magazines and
then
whatnot.
they toured the country and all that stuff. But that was how they got
Yeah.
notoriety, was by being on TV and stuff. And then now it still comes back around to. It's funny that they say this. People want to watch 90 Day Fiance. I do, but. They want to watch all this trashy because it's just fucking trashy. It's fucking. I'm like, I'm glad my life isn't that bad. But like, and then they talk about how there's not this real big industry or, you know, drive for automotive television. And then then we get all the fucking orange.
Actually, I mean,
there is a huge drive for it.
I wish
Yeah.
there was more. You know, you've got some of the one like Gotham Garage. You know,
You're a big Gotham Garage
and
fan.
I like the fabrication aspects of it, you know, where they're taking, you know, the old stuff and they're putting a new spin to it, kind of like, you know, some stuff Mike Cook's doing. You know, it's like the new and the old mixed together. I like that kind of fabrication. And there's another one that's like, I forget what it is. They're out of El Paso. They go to Mexico and buy old cars.
That's got the Rabbit. He buys all the cars
Yeah,
for him. And then
Mike. But there's so many of them out there that it's bullshit. And the show's bullshit. And then you've got now, you know, people are watching this. Oh, well, you know,
why can't you put my car together in 4 days?
Yeah.
Well, and then, oh, well, you know, I have a rust pile out in the field, and you're going to sell that for 25,000, so I want 5,000. You know, and it's like it's worth $500.
Right.
My favorite Facebook group is all it needs is a fuel pump, and it's just people finding ads where it's like just needs fuel pump. It's like it needs one of fucking everything. You need to go to call LMC Truck and just get a new cab and everything.
See, I like the fabrication. I mean, to me, that is an art form.
No, no shit.
You know, it is just like painting. It is just like, you know, photography. It's like any art form, and it takes that creative mind. But to me, that is like figuring out the problem and stuff. That's what I like watching, and I like how they meld like the old and new, and you know, and, because that's what I would do. You know, it's like
if I had the knowledge,
if I had the tools and the money, you know, to have a full machine shop.
Just need English well, dude.
Yeah, or just friends like Matt.
And Matt over there.
You guys.
Well, and that was like, so I started talking to you guys at one of the T-Bar events. And I was like, so what do you do? And like you start talking about, I was like, oh, that's cool. And then like we go over to the shop because he needed some shit done. And I like watched and I was like, man, fucking 12-year-old Cody is just back here. This is the shit. And then I was like, I just want to come over here and hang out, dude. Like I'll just.
Well, I mean, and because like the shop, that's what I would have. Like if I could have a shop, that is pretty close to what it would be. I don't need a lot.
Yeah,
you've got enough to do what I need to do, and like
you've got a very well streamlined shop that there's not a lot of fluff, but it is cool to walk in and see you create a lot of really nice stuff.
Yeah.
And like,
thanks.
I mean, like the shit that you guys make, like in the little time that we've known you guys, it's like, man, like it's funny because my dad was like, oh, we can build whatever the fuck. And I'm like, fuck you can, dude. He was like the other day, he's like, oh, we can make this little bracket. I was like, all right, well, we're just making a 90-degree L. Perfect. But like anything outside of that, I was like, Brian, what are you doing today?
So when you were building El Flaca, so did you have that in your mind? Like how?
Yeah.
Did that from what you had the concept? I guess when you came up, drawing pencil to paper to actual rubber on the ground. Did it end up what you wanted, or did it end up? How far off was it from what you
to be blue?
Thought? Yeah.
No, it's more than what I wanted. I mean, it was. I kind of got blindsided with a deal. See, at Brass Balls, this guy that worked there for a short period had mentioned something about building a build-off bike, a chop-off bike for the horse, for the smoke-out. You know, they had an event every year. Yeah.
For the horse.
The Horseback Street. Now, the Horseback Street Choppers magazine had an event every year called the Smoke-Out.
All right.
And they had the Smoke-Out East, the Smoke-Out West. I pointed the wrong directions, but no one else did.
Actually, you did point.
It's north-south.
You're actually right. Yeah.
So,
editor's note.
It was a big deal. You know, the Horse was the #1 selling magazine on the book stands at that time. I mean, Barnes and Noble, it was their #1 magazine, and it was a huge deal. The Smokeout was a huge party. You know, so they had the chop off every year. Now, all this stuff has recently come back, but Cycle Source is the magazine that hosts it now.
Right.
Everything comes back around.
Yeah. So they had the pro chop off and then the amateur chop off, you know, and shops are the ones that do the pro.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Well, this guy that worked there at the time had said something about building a bike for the chop off.
Mm-hmm.
And somehow the word got out, and
shit.
we're in it.
Yeah.
We're one of the contenders now.
Fuck.
You know.
Yeah.
Well, he wasn't going to be able to follow through with that. You know.
So did he have? When he said, "I want to do this," is it he had the wherewithal and the ability, but not the time, or did he he goes, "I'm building the White House tomorrow, and I've only done toothpick models."
Yeah. No. Well, as far as building goes, yeah.
Okay.
I mean, he was a really good mechanic.
Yeah, so he could get it running.
Yeah.
But he could necessarily build all the shit to get it
running.
running.
And then just the commitment, the finances to do it and stuff like that. So Dar hit me up. He was like, "Hey, man, if he falls through on this, do you want to that Sportster? You guys have seen that Sportster,
right.
do you want to chop that up? I was like, yeah, because that's the reason I got it anyway.
Right.
You know, was to build a chopper out of it. Well, then time goes on, and it's like, you know, I really want something that's kick only, and man, all I would use off of this bike is the drivetrain.
Right.
Everything else is going to get trashed, you know?
Right.
So anyway, I found that little iron head out in the tri-state area, you know, just by itself, and Craigslist, you know, and
$1.
Yeah.
And you're like, how much is this $1 purchase?
So I went out there and bought it, and really it was going to be just kind of a rat bike, you know?
Right.
And yeah, it just kind of developed into what it is. I mean,
man,
you know, really.
Rolling piece of art. That thing still, like, every time I look at it, or every time, because I took some photos of it at one of the events, and I was like, man, I want to do like 18,000 photo shoots with this. Like, every time I think about, like, when people are like, why don't you have a Harley? It's like, because I'd either have that or like some stupid ass road glide I'd never touch. And like, because I could just like, either it's turnkey or I want the fucking coolest thing on the parking lot.
Well, I had a lot of help from Tim Davis, you know, and I needed it at that time.
Right.
You know, that was 15 years ago almost. And yeah, I needed his help, and Tim's a really, really good fabricator. Excellent. One of the best welders I've ever seen.
Oh, really?
Wow. Yeah, Tim's pretty awesome, man. I've learned a lot off him too, because we worked together at Ridley.
Right.
And then we worked together. I had got him on at Brass Balls.
Oh, that's cool.
And he worked there for about a year, and then he and Dar just didn't get along, and Dar found a way to run him off.
Right.
That's whenever he started doing the machine guns full time.
Hold on. I want everybody to hear. And that's when he started doing the machine guns full time.
Say, dreams. Hashtag do come true.
Dude, so we had run into. So I met him at the Chop Shop, and like he seemed cool. But he was like, and he's never met a stranger.
No,
Super fucking nice. And so he's like, "What's your phone number?" One day, and I was like, "All right." And he starts blowing my phone up, like, "Why aren't you writing out this thing? Why aren't you writing out that thing?" Then I go around the corner to his shop, and he's like, "Well, what do you want? You want to do this with me?" He's done it all.
Yeah, he's one of those dudes that's like dabbled with everything, like some fly fishing, to rock crawling, to flat track racing.
He's like, I almost sent a man to space 2 years ago, but I got a little bored. And you're like, what? So I was getting ready to go do something one day, and he texted me, and it was around July 4th, and I didn't know where the fuck he was at. We didn't talk about what we were doing that weekend when I saw him last. And he was like, sends me this picture of this Volvo that's got this kick-ass paint job on it. I was like, oh, you're out in New Mexico. And he's like, how the fuck? He didn't text back. He called me.
Oh, yeah.
As I'm about to get in the shower, so I turned the shower off because I knew it was going to be a 15-minute phone call.
Right. He always calls at the most inopportune times.
Dude, I'm about to bang my wife. We'll put it on speaker.
The phone's ringing.
Yeah.
Just put it on speaker. It'll be fine.
She's like, why did you answer?
I thought he could be dead. And I was like, where are you in New Mexico? I was like, are you north of Albuquerque? He was like, how the fuck? I'm like, it's a very small community of Volvo people. And it's a very, very small community of people that have that paint job on their car. Don't really know that guy, but I know exactly where you're at. He's like,
that's crazy, man.
Yeah, but he was like, I can't believe that you know all this. I was like, I can't believe that you don't know that I don't know all this. But Tim's just wild. So, okay, so you go through so you work at Brass Balls, Darwin, and then so then you eventually get to the point where you stop working there, and then you decide with Shelby that you're going to go do the Chop Shop.
Yeah.
I thought you were pointing because you're going to ask a question. My bad, sorry.
No, I was just moving this up.
You know, I mean, there were some issues at Brass Balls, you know. You don't have to. It's fine. Yeah.
You just be like, but we didn't work out.
Well, we worked out just fine, but the finances didn't,
right.
You know,
and that's
the business closed down.
Yeah.
And
it still has a Google page.
Really?
But it says permanently closed because I one day before I met all y'all, I was helping with having bike night, and I was like, man, there's that place.
Huh.
What's that Balls place? Which to my wife's display, like she was like, what the fuck are you talking about? I was like, oh, Brass Balls. And she's like, it doesn't make it any better. Because I was going to go talk to them because I was like, are they still open? But they still have a Google page. But
that's crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah, he had gotten himself in some financial problems, and the business shut down. I went to work at Sam's for a little bit.
Sam
Wills.
I thought you meant club, and I was like, were you the ID checker?
Yeah, Sam Wills.
He's like, I'm back in the back. I'm the knife guy.
Racing Innovations, I guess I should say.
Yeah.
That was the name of Sam's shop. And so I worked there for a little bit, and Dar ended up coming across a former customer that helped him out financially, but he had to reopen the business to it didn't close at that time.
Right.
It just ceased production,
It's just kind of dormant.
Trying to figure out what they're going to do, because
right.
we're looking at some shitty shit, but so yeah, they got me to come back to work there. We had to catch up on the delinquent motorcycles is what it was.
Yeah,
and then
try to get everything paid out.
Yeah. Once that happened, they cut me loose. And
like, fly free.
Yeah.
Go, be away from here.
And then they kept it going for a little bit with parts, just trying to establish something. But, at that point, they're the small fish, in the big... in the ocean, at that time,
I mean, that's one of those deals. So coming from the automotive side of things, you get into, do you guys remember Unique Whips with Will Castro?
Yeah.
Okay. So he's putting 28,000 fucking size wheels and shit.
Yeah.
So he, super cool guy, has been in the cars his whole life and all that shit. And then now, so he had the TV show, he had it all. And then all that kind of dies out because people aren't really buying Lamborghinis and putting fucking 22s on them and shit like that, and doing the crazy stereos and all that stuff. So he had to downsize the business. It closed or laid dormant. Now he's come back again. He's on television again. He's actually got a show. It's called Unique Whips.
Yeah,
because they're real innovative. I was like, did he continue the season? But he was talking about how hard it is to have a business that's a boutique business, grow really big, and then go back to being super small again.
Yeah.
And that's it hurts the ego and does a lot, but like also it's a pride moment to be able to come back. But the thing is I thought was really cool is as I heard all these stories about what you were telling me before, telling all of us, is you never really stopped. It's like you didn't really have to go back and work at like 7-Eleven or you didn't go work at Lowe's and sell lumber. Like you still stayed in the industry. You were able to hang in there.
Yeah.
You just kept pivoting and moving on. So then when you started the chop shop, were you building stuff at your house at any point?
No. When Brass Balls shut down, I already knew Shelby.
Yeah.
We rode together and hung out together and
You're
stuff
like
that. And when Brass Balls shut down, Shelby had a shop at his house.
Yeah.
Like basically a 3-car garage out back, and he would do tires and oil changes just for clientele, a select few people that were friends, family.
Yeah. The reasoning why he's like, I don't want to rebuild your fucking Goldwing.
Yeah.
Every time I talk to Shelby about like why I don't have a shop, because I love working on shit.
Yeah.
And I like today, my barber needed his carburetor rebuilt, so I was helping him with that.
You just don't know what the word boundaries means.
I don't. I went to a lot to find that out.
Captain Save-A-Ho.
I wanted to get free haircuts for a little bit. He was like, "Can you help me with my carburetor?" I was like, "That's 3 beard trims and haircuts." I think
he is making out the better end of that deal.
It doesn't matter. It's fine. I'm helping out.
Yeah,
helping out.
Sounds that way.
Yeah. It's a Yamaha 250, so it's not that bad. But so like I was like, man, I don't want to work on because every time you work on somebody's shit, like something breaks, and you're like, fuck, God damn it.
Yeah.
And he was like, I get calls all the time where it's like, can you do it? Because we were talking about vintage motorcycles.
Yeah.
Like my KZP, I knew when I got it, I had to do a certain amount of work to enjoy it.
Right.
But he was like, God, man, people like bring this. They call like, I pulled it out of a lake. Can you make it run?
Yeah.
Like, I can, but. So he was doing all the maintenance and that kind of stuff for select clientele.
And it's
and so we were just like, hey man,
I got a dream.
Let's open up a shop.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We need
a
tax write-off.
And we didn't have anything really. I mean, we had when Brass Balls ceased production or whatever, closed down that first time, I bought one of the lifts. I bought the TIG welder.
Did you get on a fire sale price too, or did you have to pay full?
No, I got it at a discounted deal.
Like, that's man.
Basically,
like,
I kind of,
I'm gonna take this home, and I'll
he
be back
made money
tomorrow.
off of it because he didn't pay anything for it.
Right, right.
So he made money off of it, but I offered him money when he was down. He was desperate. He needed the money, and so I got a good deal on it.
Yeah,
you know? But yeah, so I had a few things, and Shelby had a couple of lifts, and of course our hand tools. But no mill, no lathe, none of that.
Dude, when I walked in, so I had heard about y'all's shop like once before from another Harley person. I was like, okay, there's the guy that has like a mill and a lathe. All right. Sounds like a lot of people I've heard. And I figured it's going to be some Harbor Freight shit. And I walked, I was like, holy fuck, all right. I was like, hey, by the way, can you make all this shit for me?
Side note, there is one Harbor Freight lift in there.
Yeah, there is. And quite a few Harbor Freight hand tools.
I was like, I think there actually should be two.
Don't be talking shit about Harbor Freight lifts.
Hey,
I love mine. I love mine. I love mine.
This one's held a dirt bike for
fucking how long?
9 months anyway, maybe longer.
It's been longer.
It's been on there.
Yeah.
12 years.
But that's about all we put on that thing.
Because it just needs to be like a paper.
Shelby's like, no, I wouldn't trust that with anything else.
Oh, no.
He's like, I'm not going to put your bike on it. I was like, oh, I appreciate that.
I'm like, I put my bike on one all the time.
I'll never forget when Harbor Freight first brought out power tools, like cordless power tools. My dad bought one. Bought a drill set. He was like, oh, I can't wait to use this thing because it's so much cheaper than the Milwaukee and the Roby and the D-Wall.
Use it one time.
Lasted a week.
No.
It starts smoking.
Nope.
Yeah.
Nope, even worse. He went to go drill into something, like charge battery, put it together, went to go drill into some wood, and it broke the chuck off the drill motor.
Oh, damn.
Sheared the plastic housing and everything. He's like, what the fuck, man?
Yeah.
It's like, and it was just like 2x4 from fucking Home Depot.
Old Harbor Freight was like, it was one use. You knew it was
yeah.
That's why it was $7.99. It is good. Like
and you have to know. You have to go into it knowing.
Yeah.
You got to know the limitations.
I mean, and they've changed now because they've got their Icon brand that's
they've got
basically
Icon.
Snap-on.
Icon for hand tools.
They reverse engineered
tool.
the Chicago Electric.
Chicago Electric is their old
shit.
Is that what it is?
Yeah, and then they've got Bauer or whatever. That's actually made in Germany in like some factory they make.
Hercules.
Oh, the Germans make good shit.
They do, and I'm aware of it.
Icon is their Snap-on.
Yeah, their Snap-on
equivalent.
Knockoff.
Yeah,
I love.
So they've like a lot of it they bought and either reverse engineered
they
or
Timu'd it. I think that's what you would say, or Ali
probably. I would imagine.
Have you seen the Harbor Freight dude's yacht?
Yeah. Have you?
I haven't.
It's got like a 600-foot, like $1 billion. It's not.
Oh, I'm
it's
sure
probably like $700 million.
He's balling out.
He is balling.
I'm sure.
Yeah.
There are Harbor Freights everywhere, and there's always people in there,
right?
And it's always the guy that is like us, where we're like, we just need this one fucking weird thing.
Yeah.
Or like the guy that's like, I don't know, I'll take tools for my birthday, and he's like, I don't know, I'm never gonna use this shit ever again.
Yeah.
So,
well, man, they're kind of the only place to go for a lot of stuff now.
Yeah.
There's not a lot of tool stores.
No, there's not, because
here in town we have
Steve's
Witten's
Wholesale.
Supply. Yeah,
Gone.
Steve shut down.
Yeah.
Steve's Wholesale.
Yeah.
Well, that one on is the one on Southside still open?
No.
Yeah, I was thinking it closed. The one on Santa Fe closed. And the one over here is
that one over here off 39 closed.
They told me he's getting older. He's ready to retire.
Fucking 95.
And
he's old.
And he can't find anyone that wants to take it over, and he can't compete
with Harbor Freight.
Because Harbor Freight, the online shit.
Yeah.
Oh, I thought you said Neon.
I mean,
like, the fuck? What?
The closest that you can get to it now is like Old Paris. One of the booths there. There's like a couple people that have. There's a couple people that have some. It's like
And then pawn shops.
Pawn shops.
Yeah.
I tell you what,
he showed me the way about some pawn shops.
But to go get like belts for your belt sander. Or whatever, drill bits, just, I mean, there are places in town to go get real drill bits.
Well, okay, so I always, excellent question. People will have asked me this, and this will be great. What fucking drill bits do you use in your professional capacity? Like when you're going to go to fabricate something, do you have a particular brand?
No, I mean, I buy the real stuff, I get it at, usually J&E Fastener over there in Valleybrook. They sell, like real jobber drill bits. You know,
right.
It's not going to be the stuff you get at Lowe's or Home Depot.
Right.
It's the real deal.
So, because I had a buddy that was assembling he was doing like a kind of a mild race car kind of build thing.
Yeah.
He was an engineer for a long time. He's like, well, I'm just going to get into this. And he was like, I keep fucking burning up my drill bits. I'm like, what are you doing? Are you using lube? And like, are you bluing them? Are you grinding them? And he's like, I just fucking dole them and throw them out. And he's like, where do I get good drill bits? And I was like, dude,
Yeah, J&E.
J&E. Yeah. There we go. Now we can get them as a sponsor.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Get some actual
Good
drill
luck with
bits.
that.
Yeah, there you go. They have every bolt too.
Yeah.
They don't carry chrome, but
you know who does? Ace Hardware.
Ace. Yeah,
Ace
they're pretty high.
They carry chrome and
Ace has it all. I mean,
yeah.
they do.
Yeah, they do.
They do.
They have, I'm air quoting it, ARP.
Yeah.
They have chrome 12 points.
They have the black chrome too.
They do have
which is
black
pretty
chrome.
cool.
Yeah,
because
black
like
chrome.
they didn't have it, and all of a sudden they had it like a ton of it.
Yeah.
And I was like,
Yeah.
because one of our buddies has, what is it? Is his license plate bolts or ARP?
Yeah.
Like legit ARPs. And I was like, motherfucker. And then
I mean, I have some Ace Hardware.
you have some 12-point bolt heads.
12-point bolt heads on my bike.
Yeah.
Well, I'm sure they're probably the same, like Gardner Westcott or something like that.
Yeah.
Well,
I'm sure they're
ARP will manufacture some studs and fasteners in-house. They will do some of that stuff, but then there's a lot of your small block Chevy stuff like that. Just this is our minimum requirements for that stuff, and you were gonna do. But like when I got head studs for my Volvo motor, they were like, if you want those, we will custom make them for you. And I got the quote. I was like, I'd rather blow up 8 of these fucking motors. Fucking have one set of head studs because I was like, woo.
Yeah.
So now you've been doing fabrication over at the Chop Shop, and you do really amazing work over there.
Well, thanks.
You're welcome. Like that was one of the things that, like when we started doing the podcast, like I had a list of people. I was like, I want Mike Hook to be on.
Here we go.
Oh my god. Anyway, so fuck off. But I was like, I really want Bryan and Shelby to come on because I was like, you guys are like the embodiment of like what I thought like motorcycling should be for shops and all that stuff. But that's all boring. What about the music, sir?
Yeah.
We haven't even touched.
We haven't got to the music.
We haven't even touched
I was
that.
like, I'm trying to run through this part. No, I'm just kidding. So the music. So, sir, how did you get into music?
I mean, I've always been into
Do you
music
love-
as far as a fan. I have an older brother, so I grew up, Van Halen and
What's your
all
favorite
that
Van
stuff.
Halen song? Jump.
I mean,
No.
you know what?
no.
I will say I'm a David Lee Roth fan.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Like that is Van Halen.
I mean, I like Sammy
I like
too.
I like
and
Sam,
I like the Sammy
Sammy
era too.
I do
yeah,
too.
I grew
but
up
like
with David Lee Roth.
yeah,
I mean,
Jump
did
was
you-
like I had that album.
Well, Fair Warning is the Van Halen's fan album.
Yeah.
Just like Rain and Blood is the Slayer fans album.
Yeah.
Dude,
you know?
so for my wedding, I got so I was like, what songs do you want played at your wedding? Blah 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 with a DJ, and it's like I have one request, and my wife was like, oh fuck, because I've been joking around about it for years. I was like, I don't want the full song.
Symphony of Destruction.
Yeah.
I was not pushing my luck. I was like, I don't want the full song. I want the opening to Rain and Blood. 'Cause,
yeah.
I was like, you can get away with the opening to it, and she was like, no. He was a disc jockey at one of the local country stations, so he played it in the studio, and I'm like, this is the best version of the song. I've never heard it so good.
Crazy.
Yeah, and then he was like, that's the shit. And she goes, no. And I was like, how about Walk by Pantera? Or Respect. It's
Walk.
Yeah.
And so that was our walkout song. Because
Nice.
it says walk.
Yeah.
And I was like, I won the battle. I won the war.
Man, I saw those guys so many times back, like, before that album came out. I remember them playing songs. That was one of the songs, actually, that they played before the album was released.
Right.
Because, they're from Dallas.
Yeah.
Man.
Yeah,
They'd
so
come up
I've-
here. They'd play at the Diamond Ballroom all the time.
I was going to say, did you ever
They
have
played at
VFWs?
Did they play
They
at
played-
the Armory?
There was a place in
there was
Lawton.
there was a place.
Yeah.
The
Red Rocks.
the Armory in Edmond. What was the place in Norman that everybody used to play?
Oh, fuck. I'm trying to think.
Rome.
Rome. It was
Yeah,
it was
because,
Rome.
Gene Simmons, like, famously was on local radio, and he was like, I'm not shitting you. Like, we played every venue, all the places that we could play around the country to build. And he's like, Norman, Oklahoma was probably the best pussy and the best show I've ever played. I was like, and he's like, on air in like 2005.
Yeah.
I was like, they didn't bleep pussy?
Well, they used to have concerts, arena concerts at the Lloyd Noble.
Yeah.
Yep.
And it's kind of a smaller venue, but man, the sound was killer.
Yeah,
I
it
saw-
was a great place.
I
to
saw
see shows.
9 Inch Nails and
nice.
Marilyn Manson open for them. That was oof. 89.
That can't, no. For 9 Inch Nails in Maryland?
This
No.
was Maryland. He was opening. This was like
I'm like,
when
this
he
has got to be
first.
like 92.
he
Was this
fir-
Pretty Hurt Machine? It's
I
got to be
think
Pretty
it may
Hurt
have been.
Machine.
It may have been 91. Maybe not. I don't think it was 92, but yeah, because I
had
remember
been out
he
of the
came
womb for barely a year.
He opened for Marilyn Manson comes walking out and he's in like a latex suit with like this big rubber dildo
Yeah.
and he's like jumping around on stage
Yeah.
and everybody's like, what
The
fuck?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so I did not know this at the time. So my nephew is named it's Odysseus Corpse Grinder. His middle name is Corpse Grinder. It's a whole thing. For the longest time, I forgot.
I mean,
the
it's pretty fucking metal.
Yeah,
George Fisher.
yeah. Well, I was like, when my sister was naming him, I was like, that guy has a real fucking name,
Right.
Like you could just call him George, but apparently it was a whole thing. So somebody was like, "Do you know the lead singer of Cannibal Corpse's neck is fucking massive?" So when they played, was it last year in Oklahoma City?
No, it's been a few years.
Yeah.
Yeah, we opened up
Yeah.
for them.
So how big is his neck in person? Did you get to see it closer than we would have?
Yeah, I mean, we played with them also at the
'Cause that was
original
was that-
Bricktown Live.
Was that at Diamond?
Yeah.
When
yeah,
you
it
opened
was
for
at the
him?
Diamond.
Yeah, we saw that.
We saw that. Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
We were at that
through
show.
my bra.
Nice.
Yeah, Brian. Yeah, no, I'm just kidding.
So we played with him. The first album he was on was called Vile, and we played with him on that tour.
That's
at the
cool.
old Bricktown Live. He was a lot slimmer then.
Yeah.
His neck was nowhere near as big
Does
as
he
it is.
lift or what the fuck is going on?
No, he's just a corn-fed dude.
Yeah.
Because he doesn't look
his
everywhere.
neck is just from slinging his head.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
the windmill.
I mean, you figure
that's
he's
just-
Yeah, that's a good
Yeah.
point. I was like, how?
he was the vocalist of a band called Monstrosity.
Okay.
They're one of the founding of that genre of music.
Right.
Monstrosity's been around forever, and a lot of people have gone through that band.
Okay. So it's
Lee Harrison is the drummer. He's kind of it's kind of his band.
Right.
So it's like Josh Homme with Queens of the Stone Age is a rotating line.
Yeah, it's like all these people have gone through
Yeah.
Monstrosity and then on to bigger bands.
Better, yeah.
I mean, Cannibal Corpse is
Pretty
the
big.
biggest death metal band there is.
Right.
And it is fascinating to tell people you're going to go see that concert because they're like, what did you say the name of the
Yeah.
band was?
It's kind of crazy, because when it
'cause-
all started, they were a little bit more of like the second tier.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Of
yeah.
Like, I mean, you had Morbid Angel, you had, of course, Deicide, Malevolent Creation, Suffocation, Napalm Death.
Right,
You
yeah.
had all these other death metal bands.
Yeah.
Death. Obituary,
I just love
that were
all the
big.
fucking names.
Yeah.
It never gets old because you're like,
and
what?
Cannibal Corpse was a little more
Graveyard
raw and
dirt.
punk and nowhere near as intricate
Uh-huh.
and serious.
Yeah.
They were a little bit more. I mean, the name's
Yeah,
kind of
yeah.
silly.
Yeah.
But
Well, you think it's silly.
but they have become this household name
Yeah.
now,
Yeah.
really, and they're huge.
I mean, when you
They
ha-
were,
when you have a
Ace
song-
Ventura,
Called I Come Blood.
right?
I mean,
Yeah.
what is not to
Fucked
like?
with a knife.
Yeah,
They
yeah,
have it
yeah,
all,
yeah,
man.
dude.
Everything for everyone. They have it.
Yeah.
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 Everything for everyone is the best tagline. I don't know if they use it, but they should.
Yeah.
Okay, so from an intricacy level, just as a thought, I don't really listen to them a whole lot because I'm out of middle school now, but Cradle
Yeah.
of Filth.
Yeah, I like Cradle of
Okay.
Filth.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I like a certain period of
Yeah.
them. They
Right.
they had this guitar player, Paul Allender, that had joined a little bit later on, and I guess maybe Bittersweets to Suck You By maybe
think-
was
yeah.
the album that the first one he was on. He was on Midian. He was on Damnation in a Day, which is a masterpiece album. It's a concept album and a whole story thing, and it's pretty incredible.
Right.
But
Yeah.
I like him as a guitar player, and he really turned Cradle of Filth into more of a metal band, really,
right.
and less keyboard, less
synth,
yeah,
prog rock?
less teenage goth girl,
Right,
you know,
right.
and a little more serious.
So
and,
you don't tour with
know.
him now. You tour with like metal bands.
Yeah,
Legit.
yeah.
Hot take. How do you feel about Ghost or Ghost BC?
I liked the first album
Okay,
a
so
lot.
he has taste.
I've seen them a couple
Yeah.
of times. They're great live, man. They're
I dig
still,
them, and
you
I
know.
dig the fact that nobody knows who they are, and like randomly that you'll get people that are come out and like, yeah,
Dave Grohl was
played
playing.
with- yeah, I played for 6 months or 9 months or something. It's like,
What? And they're
Yeah.
Swedish,
Okay.
so I'm a big proponent of that. So when did you see them here?
Yeah, I saw them here last time was with who'd they play with? Man, was it Maiden?
Yeah, when they were at the
Iron
yeah, when they were at
Maiden?
the
I would have
The
Ford
arena.
Center, the
I would've
whatever it is.
How-
loved to have seen them.
I'm
Big Iron Maiden.
big
Yeah,
Yeah,
oh,
Eddie.
yeah,
like
they're
I had
amazing.
the Eddie posters on my wall. My mom was like, "Oh, you're worshiping the devil," and it's
What's
like,
your favorite Maiden album? then?
Aces
'Cause
High.
it's Aces High.
Yeah.
You know what's
Yeah,
fucked up
It's
is
a good one.
so
And I like
yeah.
how all the albums tell a story.
Yep.
You know, and
Yeah,
it's like
yeah.
when you like all the songs tell a story.
Right.
You know, and the I don't know. It's just to me it was good music.
Oh, they're very
yeah.
intricate,
Well, and
man. I
that's-
mean, those dudes are
Fucking-
incredible.
Yeah,
you know?
yeah.
So someone asked me that the other day, and I was like, I felt like such a jackass because Flight 666 with their
Yeah.
live. I
Yeah.
was like, that's my favorite album, even though I know that's not actually an album. But I was
Right.
because I
yeah.
have the DVD and the CD, and I was like, that was how I kind of really got introduced to them. And they're like, well,
Right.
that's like a sampler of everything. I was like, yeah, that's what I like.
Right.
I go to the
Yeah.
buffet, man. I don't just go to the Chinese place. Like, I'm not good.
And seeing
I
like
want orange chicken and
like
yeah.
Metallica was Garage Days and
Oh, yeah, who's the-
yeah.
and then like Ride the Lightning. That's a
yeah.
Oh yeah.
Still
yeah.
like that one.
Master of Puppets.
Master
my
of Puppets.
favorite.
Master of
Yeah,
Puppets,
yeah.
Who's the best drummer?
And I
in
like
Metallica?
Justice too.
Yeah.
Yeah. Who's the
Huh?
best drummer in Metallica?
The best drummer.
In Metallica. I was like,
Probably Hatfield.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
it's not even Lars.
Yeah.
Yeah. Why was
Yeah.
it-
Lars was never
No, he's not good.
never considered that great, really. I
He
mean,
gets so fucking mad about it being told that.
yeah. Yeah.
He gets so fucking
I mean,
pissed.
Kirk's a good guitar player.
Yeah.
Yeah.
James, man, James is a little underrated. That dude can really pick.
Yeah.
I mean, his right hand is insane.
fucking getting at it.
and
So-
tight. You
so
know,
I met-
precise.
I met them in it had to have been
1,000 years ago.
89. They played the
when
Myriad.
they were still Metallica.
When they were still Metallica.
Yeah.
They played the Myriad. And it was either 88 or 89, somewhere around in there. But I'm like driving home.
on the
I
Justice tour.
yeah. I was
With
Oh, yeah.
Ozzy, maybe. Was that when
I can't remember
did
if
they
it was
open up
I
for
can't
Ozzy?
remember if
Or were they headlining?
I think they were headlining.
Okay.
And
I didn't go to that. My brother did.
right. And I was working at the time. I was working at a bar in Bricktown. It's when Kinetics and Pyramid was like,
yeah.
before Bricktown.
Kinetics, man. I saw Pantera for the first time.
Oh,
Yeah.
fuck yeah.
Kinetics on
Yeah.
the Cowboys from Hell
Yeah.
tour.
I saw Adamant there.
I want to go see Adam so bad.
But I was heading in, and or I don't remember what I was doing.
You were down
but
there.
But I was down there, and it was like midnight, and I'm driving down EK Gaylord, and I see the four of them, and it's like, Hetfield's a big dude.
Yeah, he's
You know,
pretty tall.
Yeah.
And so it's like you see all these guys, long hair, and they're walking down the side of the Myriad, and I'm in like a '68 Volkswagen Bug, and I whipped that bitch around.
Who also had one of those?
and-
Ted Bundy.
Yeah, yeah.
And
And
like,
that's what they thought too.
like whipped around and pulled over and was like, "Oh my god," and,
Yeah.
but it was like, yeah, they were just walking down the fucking street. Of course,
I'm
that
like,
was
God
way back
damn
when.
it. Yeah.
Yeah,
Oh, they were so killer back
Yeah.
then.
Oh, yeah.
I mean,
Yeah,
they
yeah.
were
they were
leading the way.
The
Yeah, they
way-
were leading
yeah,
that
they,
charge
they
for
were.
that.
God, they were killer.
and it was
It's
like,
like what happened?
yeah,
man?
and they
It's-
were
Napster.
did zero fucks given. Like, we're doing this, and
Yeah,
we don't.
yeah. They
that-
were the
that whole-
ultimate.
It was
at that.
at that time. It was probably
they'll never do a music video.
More metal, more punk than because they did not give a fuck.
Right.
It didn't matter what the label said. It didn't matter what anybody else said. They were doing what they wanted to do. And that was
changed.
Oh, there we go. Sorry, I was like, where did Bryan go? What? Hold on. There we go.
What the hell are you doing?
It just tripped out.
Oh,
sorry.
Yeah, that changed.
Yeah. And then it was like I remember. Black Flag would come through with Rollins, and then he started doing his own stuff. And I saw him several times when he came through at over off like 29th and I-35. That still, and he did. It was when he would do kind of a mixture of the spoken word and then his own stuff. And
oh, nice.
He was still.
I never saw him.
He's a very intense individual.
Yeah.
And
Did
it
you
was
see
a
him
good
in
time.
the movie Heat? He's real fucking intense. Have you ever seen the movie Heat with Pacino and all that?
The mosh pits were really good.
I fucking bet.
Yeah.
So what bands? Okay, so what do you play?
I play guitar.
Do you play any other instruments?
I mean, I have played bass.
Okay.
In one band, the most recent band that just recently broke up. But I'm not a bass player.
Okay. So your specialty is guitar. Well,
yeah, and in in grade school and junior high and whatnot, I played the trumpet.
I thought you were gonna say clarinet. I was like, my man.
Nah,
I got stuck with clarinet.
Trumpet.
Yeah,
brass instruments.
Trombone.
Trombone.
Nice.
So what bands have you played in?
Let's see.
You don't have to, or what band do you currently play in? If you want to, if it's
we've just formed a new thing.
Okay.
Out of the ashes of the old band, me and the old drummer and I have started a new
world
thing,
premiere exclusive.
We think it's going to be called Lamb Slaughter.
I fucking love it every
Lamb
time.
Slaughter.
Hold on, let me get over there.
No.
Damn it.
There it is. Nice.
Yeah, I can do that for you. I got the Nope. There's one that actually sounds the way I want it to, but it's broken right now. Anyway,
so yeah, that's
how did you or did the other guy come up with, or did you go like Lamb?
Well, we had been trying to come up with a name. That's one of the hardest things of having a band is coming up with a name.
Yeah, we got.
Yeah, you can tell because band names now are the dumbest.
Yeah.
Fucking thing ever.
Yeah.
Yeah. I can
like it irritates me to a point of where I'm like, I don't want to listen to your music because I hate your fucking name.
Yeah.
You know, I mean,
exactly.
like if your name's that stupid, your music's gonna be that stupid.
Yeah.
Well, and then he's so particular about shit because he loves Paul Bear, which is one of the
I
bands.
do love Paul Bear.
Yeah,
Nice.
from Little Rock.
Now, Godspeed, Black Emperor can go fuck
Do you
themselves.
know? Okay, are you aware who the band is? Godspeed You, Black Emperor.
Okay, hang on. Time out.
Okay.
Have you,
Okay.
as a musician or as a
This is a
person who
valid
has
point.
gone
This is a very
to a
valid point.
concert in your years of being alive, ever been to a show, ever, where the act comes out, does not say one word when they come out, does the whole show, and it's instrumental, and then gets up and walks off the stage and does not say one word the entire time?
Huh. That would be weird.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
See how
never.
he took that as it's just weird and not like he has a personal fucking vendetta against
no,
this guy.
I mean, they're an instrumental band.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah,
I
but
mean,
no,
I don't know.
no,
I kinda
thank
get it.
you for having us coming out.
The last time they
blah,
hit
blah,
in
blah.
Oklahoma, they almost got arrested for like some weird shit.
Yeah, because they're domestic terrorists.
Whatever. They're not domestic terrorists. They're Canadian. So
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, see, he's like, Canadians.
Yeah.
Yeah,
don't
so
know.
I like
I just halfway through the show, I'm like, they haven't said one single word, and I get it, okay, but usually it's like, thank you, we're so and so,
I think it's maybe because they're all French Canadian. I don't think they actually speak any English.
They may not. I mean, but
Now, don't you feel like an asshole? They were like, ciao.
No,
yeah.
It's no.
je m'appelle Etienne tu. They can still say something. I don't. It's 2024. They know some English.
Baguette.
Exactly.
So
Crepes.
So at the end of the show, I was super excited. I've listened to them forever, and at the end of the show, we're getting ready to leave. And he goes, "In 50 years of my life, I've been to a lot of shows." I was like, "Yeah, I bet you have. And he's like, I've never been to one show ever at all where the headliner, no act, never mentioned a word.
Yeah, nothing.
They entered the stage one by one. They played for an hour and a half. They left one by one. They never uttered a word. They never said anything. They didn't even fucking wave. And I was like, no. And I started thinking, I was like, oh, fuck.
Yeah.
So,
yeah, that is kind of weird.
Yeah.
But, I mean, in a way, it's
fucking metal.
It can be, it can be kind of cool. I mean, maybe that's their shtick.
I mean,
you know, maybe
you're still talking about it.
I mean, don't get me wrong. I'll never forget that. I'm just like, what the fuck?
Yeah, that should just be your question at the end of our podcast.
Yeah.
Just, have you ever been to? What is your favorite concert you've ever been to, Brian?
Probably the best I've ever seen. Man, probably Queensryche on the Operation Mindcrime tour. Yeah.
I
think Slayer on the Seasons in the Abyss is a close second.
Where'd you see Slayer play for that show?
I saw him at the fairgrounds in the Maiden, Oklahoma building.
Yep.
It's not there anymore.
Yeah, that was the one with the balloon top, right?
No,
that was the one next to it.
Okay, yeah, that's right. Sorry.
Yeah.
I've only lived by the fairgrounds.
Slayer and Testament.
Ooh.
It was a good show.
That's pretty good.
Good show.
Yeah. What year was that?
Let's see, 90 or 91, I guess.
Okay.
I mean, they were on the Seasons in the Abyss tour. Kerry King still had long hair.
Yeah.
He was still skinny and had the big 16-penny nail spikes, you know.
All that shit.
And, BC Rich guitars, you know. And,
That's what I
had.
had.
They were killer. Lombardo was way up on this riser that had to be... Dude, it had to be 15 feet high. I mean, he was way the fuck up there. You couldn't even see him. You could see his drums.
But that's it.
And just walls of Marshall stacks, you know.
Right.
I mean,
Okay.
it was pretty incredible.
So someone was talking about this the other day because they were asking about the Grateful Dead Wall of Sound or whatever, when they had the big crazy amps and all that stuff.
Yeah, yeah.
Someone was like, does the whole thing actually work? I was like... A lot of it's there for display.
Yeah, a lot of those are dummy cabinets.
Yeah, because that's a lot. I was like, power alone, just the amps to go through to power that. I was like, and it would probably kill somebody.
Yeah.
You definitely figure out the brown notes real, but
yeah. Well, I mean, you could play a live show with a 112 combo amp.
Yeah.
You know, because it's all running through the PA.
Yeah, exactly.
ACDC.
I mean, I have a full stack, but we play clubs and you need that. You never have stage monitors.
Yeah.
Right.
I mean, you do, but they're not effective.
Yeah, they're not doing
anything. And so for you to be able to hear, for your drummer to be able to hear all that business, you know, you do need a bigger amp.
Right.
But of course the wall of Marshalls is not necessary, obviously.
It's fucking loud.
Know. Yeah.
Yeah.
The loudest show I ever went to was ACDC. When they
was
played.
it louder than Yob?
Yeah.
Oh, well, yeah, I guess.
Actually, because I was actually shooting pictures. I was credentialed going in, and they were like, you have to, like...
You can't not wear...
You have to wear
earplugs.
Yeah, or you don't get to.
What,
and they're like...
What tour was that one for?
I don't remember. But it was like, I want to say 11,
Was
12?
that one...
I think I was there.
Ford Center.
At the
Ford Center. Yeah.
Was that the
I
one?
saw that. That was a good show.
That was a good show. It was a really good show.
That was the album they released exclusively to Walmart. That's the album. That was that tour.
Was it?
Yeah, because I remember I was like, I want to listen to this. I don't want to go to fucking Walmart.
When I'm like putting in the earplugs, I'm like, oh, here we go.
Okay.
It's so loud. And then because I'm right at the stage, I'm between, the stage, and it starts up, and it's like, Jesus Christ. Okay.
Holy fuck.
Yeah, that was a good show. Man. And they were loud.
Yeah, the loudest show. We went to go see Paul Bear open for Yob last year in New Orleans, and that's to date the loudest show I've ever been to. Like, I've been to some shit where like the guys were like, we don't care about this shit anymore. We're gonna blow all this shit out.
Paul Bear was really good.
Paul Bear was really good, and in Yob, which just fucking, I've never had it hit reverb or hit me, go through me, all the bear, and then vibrate, and then hit the wall behind me and come back.
Yeah.
I was like, what the fuck? So we're in front of the sound booth, and our wives are off over here because they're like, get fucked. And like the first, I had a set list. The first song, I was like, Jesus. And by the end of it, I was like, my insides hurt.
So what are they? I mean, I know I've heard Paul Bear before.
They're from Little Rock, and So they're both
like kind of like the Sword or something.
Yeah.
Maybe
they're more
that
doom
genre
metal.
a
Yeah,
little.
yeah. Because Sword, I would say, is more like stoner rock metal kind of.
Okay.
Pallbearer is more doom metal.
Okay.
And then Yob's definitely just doom. Like it's the doom metal that like it's like holy fuck that shit's loud as fuck.
Yeah.
Like Quantum Mystic,
like Place of Skulls
Yeah.
or something like that.
yeah. And so
With a little bit of weird,
yeah,
like, I'm going to experiment with some bullshit sprinkled in.
yeah.
you know.
Pallbearer's more straightforward.
Pallbearer is more straightforward.
Yeah,
It's like, it is doom
Yeah.
metal. And then Yob is like doom metal with a little, let me hit this can.
Yeah.
You know,
It's
let me
not-
take the can and rub it on my strings. You know, and then
see
just
anybody
let
have a
it,
pill bottle?
just let the
Yeah.
reverb go through
Ma,
for
it's-
5 minutes.
you know, one of the, so most of their songs are like 20 minutes long.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I sent this song out to a couple people, and I was like, the song gets because they're like, God, it takes forever. I was like, it gets really good around the 26-minute mark. And the audacity, it's like Indigata DeVita.
Right.
Yeah.
The
Yeah.
audacity to tell someone, no, it gets good almost a half hour into
Yeah.
this. Because it gets, so that song's like 30 minutes, I think, or 29. The last 4 minutes are, it's good, but it gets really good at the end. And people are like, what the fuck, man?
Yeah.
This is really like tripping out, man. Anyway, so go Lamb Slaughter is the current. So it's you and a drummer.
Me and the drummer,
Okay.
and we have a guy, Steve Giddens is his name. He's a guitar player, been
Okay.
in several different
Are you playing
bands and
guitar in
stuff.
this?
Yeah.
Okay, so
yeah.
you're gonna have dual guitars.
Well, Steve's playing bass with us at the
Okay.
moment, and it's just the three of us right now. I keep telling him, man, you should be playing guitar, and we need to find a bassist. Of course, they're hard to find.
Then what
Yeah.
are you
real
gonna do?
bass players. I'll still be playing guitar.
Okay, so- okay.
We'd be two guitars.
Okay,
You know?
just want to make sure you weren't tapping yourself out of the band before you got
No, no.
Yeah.
But he should be playing guitar, but he's like, man, I'm just having fun, you know.
there.
Yeah.
Well, you know,
So are you guys just jamming out, or are you actually going to play
No,
some
we're
shows? or?
we're working towards getting the whole thing rolling again.
Okay.
You know,
'cause
I mean, I've been doing it since '93,
Yeah.
non-stop. I mean, I've the only breaks I've had have been like this right now, forming a new band.
Right.
Right,
You know?
right.
But yeah, I've gone basically from one band. This one breaks up, I start a new one the next day, pretty much. You
he's
know?
like, I am not going to be without. So for you, and so the last one was you guys were all pretty much here, and then the
Yeah,
lead
yeah.
singer was in.
He was in Minnesota.
Okay.
Or yeah.
And then so how does that work? Have you been in other bands that were similar to that, or
Well, no, I did a project like that with my ex brother-in-law. We had a band called Voodoo Moonshine that was more of like just a rock and roll kind of like
Yeah.
maybe like Tesla or something. And
Right.
and I had a band here called Blunt Force Trauma at that time, a death metal band,
I remember that.
and they were all out in Memphis. It was him and the drummer lived in Memphis, the bassist lived in Memphis, and the vocalist lived in St. Paul, Minnesota. He was originally
Right.
from
Yeah.
here, but and Jeff, my ex brother-in-law, he was originally from here.
Oops.
But no, we just did. You know, at that time, it was a lot of cassette tapes,
right,
Right.
mailing back and forth,
Yeah.
and phone conversations and stuff like that, and I was just kind of, it was a side project for me, and I didn't write anything. I was just filling in as the other guitar player,
Right.
basically, you know.
Wow.
And so yeah, they wrote all the stuff, and then you know, Memphis isn't, it's just right down I-40.
It's not too
you
far,
Right,
know?
right.
Yeah, so I would go there pretty frequently, and
You're like
Stay,
East Memphis
you
is
know.
fucking terrifying.
Yeah.
yeah,
You're like, I see
Yes.
the pyramid and I keep going.
Yes, it is.
yeah.
Yeah, West Memphis, East Memphis is just terrifying. But
It's a pretty rough.
East or West
neighborhood.
Memphis is really not Memphis. That's, you've crossed the river.
Yeah,
you're
you're
in,
right.
You're in
Yeah.
Arkansas, and it's just like,
Yeah,
Don't-
that-
don't
I've
stop.
never.
side note, don't stop there for gas.
no, we just keep going.
Yeah,
Yeah. Then when you get escorted by the police and they're like, you're not in trouble, but you're about to be.
yeah.
Why are you here and what are you doing? That was the Postal Service. Have you ever heard of that band? They're they're like an indie. I didn't think you would, but they're like an indie kind of pop. No, it's not pop, but indie band.
It's pop.
Yeah, it's pop. It's got popular, but that was how the name of it came up. It was two guys from several other bands, and then they both wanted to jam out, and they would send CDs and cassettes back and forth through the mail. And they're like, "Oh, we're gonna call our band the Postal Service," and I was like, "Oh, that's cool."
Huh?
Okay.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's cool.
yeah. So I mean, next time you probably can't steal that one, but you could call it like USPS or
Yeah.
I like Graveyard Dirt. By the way, I'm going to throw that out there.
That is a pretty cool name.
You can use
can
that,
make that
one,
into a
especially
song.
if you were like a doom band.
Oh yeah,
doom metal, Graveyard Dirt.
Learn to play
Yeah.
the fucking instrument, and I got drums. Not great, but I got them.
I
liked
guitar.
Smoldering
I had
Flesh,
a BC Rich,
which was just a joke that we had like back in high school.
Yeah.
But it has stuck with me all these years. But we didn't want to use Flesh again because the
Yeah.
last band we had Flesh in the name.
Yeah.
And you don't want to.
know?
You're fleshing it out to.
Yeah. And Lopez, our drummer, was telling some story about their old vocalist. His last name is Mathis. He called him Manslaughter Mathis, and I thought, manslaughter.
Yeah.
It's a pretty common word.
Right.
But are there any bands named that? And then Lopez said lamb slaughter.
And
Like,
you're
okay,
like,
there we go.
There we go.
You know,
I like
yeah,
where we're
yeah,
going.
yeah.
it's
I
a
like
little
it.
silly, but
Yeah.
you
Yeah.
know,
Yeah.
that's cool though. It's
Yeah.
Yeah.
it's death metal, so you
well,
can't take it too seriously anyway.
No.
You know,
I mean, so
it's entertainment.
Well, so
Yes, I used to play guitar, and yes, I had a BC Rich. I wanted a Les Paul. It was like $475. As you can tell, this was way long ago. And I got the BC Rich, the big flying puzzle-looking piece one.
Warlock.
The Warlock, yeah. It was red, and so I cut out a little yellow hammer and sickle and put it on the deal so it looked like a... Oh, my dad did not like that.
Oh, I
Yeah.
fucking
I
bet.
bet.
I bet.
Yeah.
He was like, Crumb, you're going to die.
Yeah.
So, what's your favorite band? What do you think?
Oh man.
Miley Cyrus?
Yeah. Pretty big fan.
No. I'd have to say, for me, it's Taylor Swift.
Yeah.
He's a bit illegitimately.
Hi,
He did go
I'm the-
see.
No, I
I'm the
don't.
problem.
Man, that's a tough one, dude. I don't know.
I don't have one favorite.
Death
Yeah,
metal.
Yeah.
I have
would
several.
Probably say Malevolent Creation.
Yeah.
Mainly because their first two albums are insane. They're really good. Thrash, Slayer.
Yeah.
you
Yeah.
know.
Yeah.
The staples.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Rock. I mean, I don't know. You know, I like Van Halen. I like White Snake.
Yeah.
You know,
Right.
I like
I
Tesla.
forgot about White
Yeah.
Snake. I love White Snake.
Oh,
Did you-
Yeah,
but
White
that was
Snake's
all-
great.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Dude, Cinderella.
Cinderella.
You know, they
Right? Cinderella,
a
Rat.
hair band, sure, but man, Rat.
Twisted
yeah.
Sister? I
met Dee Snider.
How was
you know,
he in
up
person?
Super cool dude, man.
Yeah.
Super personable,
Yeah.
friendly, just regular Joe.
I love how he's like never done drugs or drank or
Yeah.
alcohol or like anything.
he
just-
was,
He's business 100%.
yeah.
Yeah, he also rides motorcycles.
I mean, he basically single-handedly took down Tipper Gore
No
and the
shit.
Yeah.
PMRC,
Yeah.
you
Yeah.
know,
he was like, get
and
fucked.
helped the metal community with the whole, you know, parental
Right,
lyrics
right,
or
right.
parental
Yeah,
advisory,
Rosary,
you
yeah,
know,
right.
The
Not
lyric, the deal.
I was watching
Man, you see that label on a record, you're gonna buy it.
Yeah.
you
Oh,
know?
yeah.
I mean,
Absolutely.
Well, and so I was watching a hip. I can't remember who's the guy. Def Jam. That's not Rick Rubin. Can't think of his name right now. They were talking
Russell Simmons.
about Russell Simmons. Thank you.
yeah.
And he was talking about when D was going through all that shit. He was like, that was monumental for not only that side of the genre of music for everybody.
For
Yeah.
everybody.
But like,
Yeah.
and he was like, I owe so much, and everyone owes so
Yeah.
much to him to be getting that done.
Yeah.
I
mean,
he's
I
just
can't
an
tell you how many-
intelligent guy. He's well spoken.
He is.
You know, he's. I mean, he's just a cool.
He's
dude,
great at doing
man.
his own cross-dress makeup because, like,
Yeah.
So when Rocklahoma, before it is in its current rendition now, where it's like rock and metal and shit,
Yeah.
it was the hair metal, stuff.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah,
it was
yeah,
like
yeah.
earlier,
Yeah.
like a throwback.
Yeah,
kind
and-
of thing.
But see, and I like
I liked it.
Poison.
Yeah.
Rat.
Yeah.
So I went when I was 15 to Rocklahoma, and it was
Yeah.
so Twisted Sister was the headliner. I'm trying to remember who else it was, but like, so it was weird to have the actual legitimate bands headlining and playing the main stage, and then all these cover bands
Right.
playing in the smaller stages,
Yeah.
and I was like, I've heard this goddamn song 4 times a day.
Yeah, by 4 different people.
Yeah, and I mean, none of them sound any fucking different.
Right.
Like, do it different. But I'm glad they've gone to a different way to do that now. But yeah, that was when I saw Twisted Sister. And one of my favorite things is when my buddies that are in bands now, and when I see bands, I'm like, you guys were great, but I've seen Twisted Sister play.
Yeah.
And they're like, what the fuck? Yeah.
See, Jane's Addiction, I like them. I like 9 Inch Nails, and
I do like 9 Inch Nails.
reason
I like
the
Pretty
reason
Hate Machine.
I like Pretty Hate Machine because it came out at that
Pivotal
15,
point?
16 time.
Yeah, before the cat
Before
got
the
a hold
cat
of
got
it.
a hold of it.
Yeah.
But I liked Trent Reznor because he experimented. He didn't stay in that box.
Right. Yeah.
And so he kind of would go outside
You can
of
tell
his comfort zone, and you're like, what the? And then
Yeah.
you're like, okay,
you can still
kinda
tell it's a
like
9 Inch
it.
Nails album.
Yeah,
But it's
yeah.
different. It's,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because that's one of the hardest
and
things.
I respected that because it's like you had a lot of bands that this is us, and now we're it's REO Speedwagon, and now we're
Right.
on the Casino tour, REO Speedwagon, and it's like
Hey, man. I've seen REO Speedwagon.
I have too,
I haven't,
but
I never have. I never was a big fan of REO Speedwagon.
Yeah, not really.
I've seen a lot just because when I was working for the newspaper, I shot concerts, and so it's like I'd shoot the zoo or whatever, and it's like, all right, I'll go watch anybody.
Yeah.
They're still going.
They're still
there's-
going.
fuck it, dude. Like,
Yeah.
It's like the Stones, man. I
Dude,
mean, how
no
old is
shit.
Mick Jagger
Dude.
now? 80,
Yeah.
86?
I think he
85?
I thought it was
Something.
87.
He
He's
might
old.
be.
Like,
And still just getting after it.
Yeah.
dude.
and having
Yeah.
kids.
Yeah.
Like, he's getting after it.
I mean,
I
on
wouldn't mind seeing them just because, and I never was a Stones fan
Nah, same,
Right,
but, like,
necessarily, but just the whole, like, the Altamont thing and stuff like
Yeah.
that,
Yeah.
it would just be kind of cool to, before they kick the bucket.
Yep.
got
you
to see
know,
them.
yeah.
Well, it's like Tom
Yeah.
Petty. So,
Yeah, and I like Tom Petty,
Yeah.
and I never got to see him.
Right.
same. And when he came through town 5, 6 years ago, whatever it was, and played the
Right.
arena, I was like, I'll see him later.
Yeah, yeah.
I was like, I'll get to it later. And then, like, I think it was like right after this when he died.
Yeah.
And I was
See,
like,
I saw Journey.
don't stop.
When was
I
that?
never saw Journey.
80.
Neil Sean was their guitar player,
Right,
was born
right.
in Midwest City.
Oh,
Well,
really?
that's so
Yeah.
84,
sure 80s.
83. It was early 80s
Early
when
80s.
we saw them,
So probably like Raised on Radio,
Yeah,
that
yeah,
album
yeah.
had
and then I saw
what was the big hit?
the
on
new
that album?
the new Journey, probably about 15, 16 at the Zoo Amp
Oh, yeah.
with the guy they found.
yeah, the Asian guy.
The Asian guy.
Sounds
And it's like,
similar,
yeah.
dude,
but-
he actually sounds.
Oh, he belts, yeah.
He
can-
belts like
yeah.
Steve Perry.
But he doesn't have that smoky voice that Steve
Right,
Perry
right,
had, you
right,
know?
right.
There's just a certain quality
Right,
to
right,
his
right.
voice that be hard to match.
Yeah,
It's like
yeah.
Brad Delp from Boston.
yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
There's just something to his voice that even though someone can hit those notes and hold them and stuff, man,
It's
but
just not the same.
it's not
Right,
quite there.
right.
Yeah. What is it? Baby metal? What is the name of that band in Japan where it's the 3 chicks that play death metal? I'm trying to think. Do you know what I'm talking about?
Nah.
Yeah, it sounds familiar.
We skip it. It's fine. I was off air because I was like, I bet you've heard them. I love the fact that they're like, there's these.
I will say this: the Japanese and their metal bands,
fucking
I'm
nuts.
I'm kind of here for it
Yeah.
because they do just fucking get it.
Yeah.
But
There was one.
I don't
that-
know what they're saying.
You remember
but-
Loudness?
Yeah.
I saw
Yeah.
them in a club over here, the Chameleon Room, or not the Chameleon Room. I forget what it was called. Anyway, it was over on the south side,
Yeah.
and just a club. Man, they were killer.
Right.
You know.
That's so I've gotten to the point because Spanky will give me shit all the time about like how I love this band and there's like 14 people that love the band and like half of them are the fans are
Yeah.
also in the band. But I've gotten to the point
If they're mainstream, he knows nothing.
Yeah, 'cause
Yeah,
people.
yeah.
If
Well,
they
but I mean-
if they have 7 fans, he can tell you
Well, I mean, I
where
like
they
Slayer.
live, when they grew up, what their favorite color is, what their Taco Bell order.
I don't know all that shit about Brian. I mean, I don't know what the Taco Bell order is, but what's your Taco Bell order, Brian?
Usually the Mexican pizza deal. Sometimes a beefy 5-layer burrito.
Sometimes, not all the time. But like, well, I mean, I like Slayer. I like, Megadeth. I like, Iron Maiden. All those. I like those bands. I just gotten to the point where I didn't like. I saw Rob Zombie. It was in this moment, Rob Zombie and Ozzy Osbourne at the whatever the fuck they're calling it now, but it was the Ford Center back at the time when he played. I've seen Tool both in Tulsa at BOK and down here. I saw Killing Joke up there open for Tool, which I wanted to go see Tool.
They've been around a long time.
Killing Joke, which I love because you want to talk about a band that has some catalog.
Yeah.
The first Killing Joke, I was like, I like the Death and Resurrection show. Fuck yeah. And I go listen to an earlier album. I'm like, what the fuck is this shit? But I kind of got to the point where I hate doing the arena shows. Diamond Ballroom, I like that size venue. And in the smaller, like the Blue Note and all that stuff.
Yeah. That's more my speed.
Yeah,
I mean, I like going to an arena show and watching Judas Priest or somebody play occasionally. But, But yeah, the club scene.
Yeah.
I miss like the Armory up in Edmond, seeing the shows there. Because like I saw Johnny Rotten when he was.
Nice. PIL.
PIL.
Public Image Limited.
Yeah. He came through there and it was like, it's like the Diamond. There's not a bad seat,
Although,
right.
We will. So
I wish the Diamond had seats.
I
like
do.
they
I
used to.
do wish they had.
Yeah.
Even if they throw some in the back. They redid the bathrooms. The bathrooms are
they're
really
nice. Yeah,
they're really nice.
Well, the whole building's really nice.
Yeah,
David Fitzgerald bought it. DCF concerts.
Yep.
He bought it.
Is that what happened? He bought it. Okay.
Yeah, and that's whenever
sense.
all the.
And his daughter.
That's whenever it really went from a boot scooting place to a music venue.
Yeah. Because I had. My sister used to go to concerts a lot when I was a kid, and I was not allowed to go. And then but a guy I knew through RC Cars was into ICP, and I was like driving.
Right.
I've been to 2 ICP concerts, and I'm going to tell you this.
Juggalo.
For life. Hatchet Man for life.
No, they're pretty cool, though.
No, dude, I'm not going to lie. When I'm like, I would totally go to the Gathering of the Juggalos. The people watching's off the fucking charts. And realistically, not bad music. I mean, not great, but not bad.
You know what show I've never been to that I want to go? And I don't know why I haven't been. It's always like some Guar.
I've never seen Guar.
But it's like
and they've been through here
and they've been through here a bunch. They used to come through here all the time.
Yeah, you better wear a tarp.
Right.
Wear a parka.
Dude, so my buddy Evans, he's a huge Tool fan. Not the most recent album, because he fucking hates that one, but it's hilarious.
Yeah,
so that was when they were on tour. And so I was like, hey, I'm going to go see Tool. And he's like, well, I'm not going to go. And blah, blah, blah. So I go up to Tulsa to go see Killing Joke and Tool. On my way back home, last year I did 170 concerts?
Yeah.
It was the year where I did like 30. But like, he was like, we're going to go see War. I was like, fuck, man, I don't want to pay. Dude, I'm on my way back from Tulsa. It's late. And he was like, well, get here because we're going to go. I already bought your ticket. And I was like, all right. I'd never seen Gore. I like Gore enough to go. And I was like, all right, it is awesome. Go see them.
Yeah.
Like, highly. Because
I mean, it's one of those that's what I would go for is the spectacle.
Yeah.
And they fuck with the security guards.
I don't own any of their material.
No.
I do own a VHS that live from Antarctica.
Oh, nice. Yeah.
Yeah, I have that. I don't know where I even got it.
Someone gave it to you as a gag, and you're like,
I've had it for years.
Yeah.
A year back, back when VHS
right,
players.
Right.
I bet I can guess probably about 93 to 96.
Probably, yeah.
No, it's like CKY. Like I've always wanted to see CKY because like that was right whenever well at the time him and Krello Filth and CKY and all that stuff, they were all kind of if you're in the non-metal, but like here's some soft shit for you to play when you're on the school bus going to middle school. But yeah, the Diamond Ballroom. So Static X. I'm trying to think how old it was, but so it was going to be like reliving the metal from my like middle school days, and like
it was that weird Swedish or Finnish band
that
opened for him that actually ended up being better than Static X.
Yeah, because
Static X is.
Well, because now that Wayne Static's dead and moved, they've got whoever.
Pretty sure they were Milli Vanilli-ing it.
They were.
So who was the Swedish Finnish band?
I'll have to look it up. Well, I guess he will. Pull it up, Jamie. So we go, and I had just seen somebody else at the Diamond like probably a month before, and it was great. Sounds great. So then I was like, dude, I'm super jazzed about going to see Stack X and all these different bands and all that stuff. Because it's like, I'm trying to remember who all it was. It wasn't Opeth, but it was like a bunch of that stuff. And it sounded like dog shit. So I've been kind of hesitant about going back to the Diamond because the last show, like I went to 2 shows. I went to that one and I thought, well, maybe the audio guy sucked.
Yeah.
And then we go to another one and it fucking sucked too. And I was like, God, because I had my earplugs in. I was like, I can't hear anything. And there was no bass. It was all weird on the treble and the highs were all fucked up.
Yeah, come to think of it, I guess maybe the last couple of shows I've been to at the Diamond kind of sounded shitty too.
They blew something up because I know some people that work in audio and they're like, yeah, something blew up and they were trying to fix it and I don't know if they fixed it yet or not.
I guess the last show I saw there probably was the Cavalera brothers, Igor and Max from Sepultura originally, but and they sounded great.
Okay.
But Testament, Exodus, and Death Angel came through a couple of years back, and they played there. And Testament sounded like shit.
Yeah,
I've seen Testament several times, and they're always killer.
Yeah,
I mean they're a great band, man.
They
sounded like piss.
Yeah, that was one of the things I kind of noticed. But then like 89th Street when it was the conservatory was always like a fucking dump.
Yeah,
and now it's nice. Like it's actually legit.
I loved it when it was a dump.
When
we played there so many times.
Yeah, it feels weird.
Just go in the bathroom and it's like just people pissing in the corner.
Yeah,
it's like
that bathroom was
heinous.
Yeah, legendary. Dude, and then like I don't know who bought it, but somebody bought it, and they did a couple things slowly. But I remember going, and the stage was in the old spot.
Yeah,
and I went to go shoot.
They moved it. Yeah.
Well, my buddies have a band, locally Alumnus, and it's some guys from Train Dodge and some other stuff, and they were like, "Can you do some promo photos for us?" Like, yeah, I got you. And they have lighting that changes colors, and it's not clamp lighting from a job site.
Yeah.
And I walked in, I was like. How long did it take someone to figure out to put stage from over there to over fucking here?
Well, it was a bar. Yeah. Like, what was it originally? Like a restaurant bar.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah. Like not Henry Hudson's, but something like that.
Classics.
It was.
I mean, it was kind of like that. I mean, it was.
Might have.
It was kind of
I think it was a.
It was a dive bar or something.
Yeah.
With a. Bar and grill or some shit.
And that had shut down and the building was in pretty bad shape.
Yeah.
And they had opened it up. It was a place called Rockers. And we played there one time with a band from Olympia, Washington called Cypress. And then it changed to the Green Door.
Yep, it was Green Door.
Yeah, it was Green Door.
Yeah.
Yep.
And I
saw
saw White Stripes there. When it was
Did they hold you back?
The Green Door?
Yeah.
Wow.
No, I showed up and
the Green Door ended up moving to Bricktown.
Yeah. Yeah, the Green Door got moved into Bricktown.
Yeah, because it was around the corner from where I used to work at. And
then there was the one that was, I think the Green Door, what one was over off Classen in like 28th for like
was that the old church?
Yeah, Purgatory.
Yeah.
Well, no, but it was
King of Clubs or something.
No, there was another one though that was like the Green Door or something.
Blue Door.
Something was
the
it
Blue Door. It's over.
That's
off
what.
Of
27th,
McKinley.
28th, and McKinley.
It's
or
over
something.
by OCU. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's still there.
I've never been in that.
Yeah, because like it's weird, obscure. Like it's like who the
they
play.
They're
playing bongos.
Bora Bora,
yeah.
which was there next door to the Pump, that pizza place.
Yeah, the pizza place now.
That was Bora Bora.
I thought you were gonna say Ungo Boingo at first, and I was like, whoa.
Oingo Boingo, man.
There you go.
That's a good one.
Yeah. It's in there. I was bred with all that stuff. It's just
Devo.
Yeah. The other day I was talking to somebody about Devo. I was like, I can't really get behind it. And I was like, but I love the Talking Heads. And they're like, what
I
the
like
fuck?
the Talking Heads.
Yeah.
I like Talking Heads.
I'm not a big Devo fan, but I probably like them more today than what I did then. But I'm still not.
Yeah.
It's not like I own any Devo shit.
You don't have the hat?
No, yeah. Well, the flower pot.
Yeah.
See, I was a big Jane's Addiction.
Yeah.
Cure.
I can't.
Yeah. Cure, dude.
And
what was the first like underground album you bought?
Ooh,
that would be Front 242.
Oh, nice.
Or KMFDM.
Nice.
Dude.
I still love Front
I like
2.
KMFDM.
Front
Hey,
242.
I like both of them.
Front 242 was my first like foray into like that German, that utilitarian, like
industrial.
Like it was punk, but it was not. I mean, it's that goth or not. I don't know. I'm not how to explain it. You know,
it's industrial.
It wasn't death metal. It was industrial.
He just said it. He said it like 4 times.
Ministry, Skinny Puppy.
Yeah. See, and I like Skinny Puppy. Ministry before they were.
Ministry
when they were they were metal, and then when they turned,
that happened. You know, Mike Scacia. He passed away, but he was the guitar player. And, you know, he joined up on. I guess it would have been Psalm 69.
Yeah,
and from then on,
Joy Division. I mean, all those that were. I've listened to everything. You know, it's like,
me too.
It was like the full spectrum.
Me too. Yeah,
you know,
that wasn't radio.
That wasn't radio music.
Yeah. Everything from The Cure to The Accused.
Yeah.
You know, I grouped together. You know,
because it was like
stuff.
like you said, I'd have Depeche Mode, I'd have The Cure, I'd have Megadeth, I'd have you know,
anything
Iron Maiden,
underground.
and
Minor Threat.
Right, yeah. It's like everything and just
Fugazi.
Yeah, I fucking still.
One of my
I
favorites.
still love Fugazi.
I've got it all. I've got the entire
Waiting Room
catalog.
is on my my. I have a playlist
and the instrument soundtrack. The DVD. I've got that.
And I saw them. I saw Fugazi.
Fan. I've never seen them.
Edmond at the.
I remember.
Armory.
I've got the flyer.
Yeah,
but I didn't go to the show. I still have the flyer.
I have half of the battle. But not the full. But like. Somebody was asking me the same thing. They're like, "What was your?" And I was like, "I remember going to get it because someone gave me Linkin Park, and I was like, all right, because I was young."
Yeah.
Right.
Like I remember where I was at when the Twin Towers got hit, but I was like a kid when I watched it. But first one I got was Gorillaz. But and that was unfortunately
Gorillaz is good.
Yeah, but like I got it because it was on MTV, but it was like obscurely on MTV, and I was like, I'm still kind of hold on to it.
First kind of mainstream rappy poppy one that I did was I was working at. It was before Purgatory was Purgatory. It was called Pandemonium. It was the church.
Yeah,
and
Pandemonium.
I was DJing there, and we had is a guy out of Dallas. MC 900 Foot Jesus, and DJ Zero. And I jumped on their tour bus and went to Wichita with them. Like they were just like, "Come on!" And I was like 17 at the time. You know,
he's like, "Minors are involved anyway." It doesn't matter.
I had no clue. You know, and then I had to have a buddy come get me. You know, but
I didn't think this all the way.
But it
through.
was like it was like one of those things where it's like, yeah, why not?
Yeah, fuck it.
Yeah.
But it was like. And he was out of Dallas and never really went anywhere. He had one kind of minor hit. Violent Femmes. That was another one. Violent Femmes.
Yeah.
So that was one that was probably my first. Like I remember the neighbor girl was.
This is why
I was probably 9 or 10, and she was. I don't know, 18, 16, something like that. And she was into him, and it was like she was babysitting me one time, and she was listening to it, and she's like, "You're gonna listen." And so it was like one of those things, and I'm still like,
"That's the shit."
Yeah, that's the yeah. I've seen them 6 different times.
I've never seen them,
and
I like them. I never was a huge fan. Like I don't have their whole catalog.
Right.
But I liked them, and they were on a lot of skate videos. You know,
that was one of the
like Danny Way or somebody would be skating, you know, and Violent Femmes.
I was always wondering
background music.
They picked their own soundtrack, like or if there was because I always feel like was I the cool guy that knew all the music? Like fuck no, I just like I got to figure that shit out.
Yeah, they have some input. If they don't, it'll get picked for them. But
when I was in high school, you know, all the big bands were like Motley Crue and Guns N' Roses,
and
you know.
I still
so like the first underground thing I got was the Chili Peppers, the Uplift Mofo Party Plan. I still have it on
Saw
vinyl,
them at Euphoria in Norman.
I've never seen them. You know, the next album was Mother's Milk.
Yeah.
And they started on that album to kind of drift a little more commercially.
Yeah.
And then the album after that, they were. I think that's the one that had Under the Bridge.
Right,
or
right,
whatever,
right.
And they
Californication
were full blown,
fucking ruined.
Yeah.
Red Hot
regular
Chili, yeah.
radio music. But back then, I bought it because on the movie Thrashing,
Right.
they go
Right.
into the dance club, or the club. It's not a dance club, but the club, and the Chili Peppers are on stage. They're
Yeah.
playing Black Eyed Blonde off Freaky
Right,
Styling.
right, right.
And back then they were, they were punk, funk,
Yeah,
getting
at it.
like
Yeah.
ridiculous,
Flea,
and
Flea,
killer.
I remember
you know?
watching Flea and just
What the fuck is happening?
I mean, like
Yeah.
you're like,
Yeah.
dude, he was it. I mean, he was like just getting it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
I think what happened to him was Hillel Slovak, their guitar player, passed away.
Right.
I think it's kind of the whole Metallica Cliff Burton sort of
Right,
scenario.
right.
But I don't know. I mean,
I'm not there.
and then saw Book of Love.
Book of Love.
They were at
nice.
Norman at Rome 90.
Yeah.
Saw them, and I don't know. I've like it, when I start thinking about it, I've gone to so many shows, and it's
Right.
like just I mean, the first show I ever went to was at Blue Note, and I was 13.
Wow.
It was like I got snuck in by some friends, and it was Guadalcanal Diary, which I don't know. It's not a cool band, but it was
Yeah.
like ever since then. I mean, I've gone, and I've always worked. Like coming up, I had a fake ID, so I always worked in bars. When I was working at Kinetics, I was DJing at Kinetics, and then I would bar back and bartend at Pyramid, which was a 21 and up
Yeah, I
club.
remember that.
And they had
have flyers.
they had
that- from there,
and then
I
Bricktown.
don't think I ever went there though.
Then they had Bricktown Live,
Yeah, the
which-
original,
the original Bricktown Live, which
before
was
the ballpark.
before the ballpark,
Right.
and that was where one of the warehouses had collapsed, and they cleared out the walls, so it was just
Yeah,
you had two between it, and like I remember seeing what was the band James, and like you'd get then you had there was just I mean like I don't know there people would come through and we would see it, and but at Kinetics saw Adam Ant,
nice.
9 Inch Nails,
I only went to a few shows at Kinetics. I saw DRI
Yeah,
there. So
yeah.
Sick of It All.
yeah
Of course, Pantera.
Yeah. It was cool. Like I said,
Kinetics was a cool place.
Kinetics was a cool place,
That was
and
the first place I ever stage dove.
yeah, and it was like
That's your this is my favorite place because of that. It's really cool because of that
well, and it
beginning
was
part.
It had a high enough stage for it. It was like
yeah,
I
it
don't
was
know
like
on
a
us
6.
now. Yeah,
It was like a
Is it really that
pretty
it was
tall?
It was a 5 foot, 6 foot stage.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah. And then it had
Yeah,
it had
okay.
like the back rooms where
Yeah,
and
like the trippy rooms.
Yeah, the trippy
Yeah.
rooms, and so it was like a punk club, but it trying to be mainstream, but it was mostly punk. And then the Pyramid was your more mainstream because Pyramid was 21 and up.
Yeah.
Kinetics was 18 or 16, I think.
I don't remember. But
It was
I mean, it was a music.
It was a
venue,
music
Yeah.
venue,
but
and,
it had like hangout rooms,
Which is cool.
yeah,
Yeah. That was whenever I started going to shows, it was like, oh, we're gonna go see him at, the arena, or trying to think of Cox or not Cox, so the Coke Center, whatever it's called now,
right.
and all that stuff.
Bricktown Event
Road
Center.
and all that
Yeah.
shit.
Well, now that's Oklahoma
Ranch.
Cowboy or Ranch or
Whatever.
something.
Yeah,
I didn't get
don't
to go
know
to
what it is.
all the cool little shitty venues and all the clubs and all that stuff because my sister was going, and then I worked for a long time. And I just
Yeah.
didn't get to go when I was
Yeah.
of the age where I could sneak in.
Well, 89th Street's still open.
Yeah.
I mean, to me, it's
Yeah.
still I still call it the conservatory.
I do too.
I
I
will
do.
never not call that motherfucker
Yeah.
the conservatory.
And they have quite a few shows. Of course, the Blue Note.
yeah.
Yeah.
I like,
I like the Blue Note.
the Villanova.
I do too. They've done a lot of work in there.
It's
too.
nice
as
It's
fuck
nice,
now, but you can't
yeah.
smoke in it.
For new venues, I like the Jones Assembly. I do
I
not
haven't
like
been to
Criterion.
that. I haven't been to in there either.
The Criterion,
and
I
it's
watched.
been open for several years.
Yeah.
And I go to
It's
a lot
not
of shows.
well-
but I've never been in.
Yeah.
it.
It's not a well thought out venue, and it's kind of like the Diamond. I wish they had chairs.
The Criterion.
Criterion, yeah,
They
because
have stairs upstairs or chairs upstairs.
yeah, you got to pay for that shit.
I didn't pay for it last time I went. When I went to Parliament, I went up and down as much as I paid to go see watch. I went to go see watch Parliament. The Big Ginger Man, which was funny because I was like, it's not gonna be just me.
It was.
Yeah.
And I was getting at it, and like George is like, yeah, and I was like, well, he's on a stool, because George is like 90 years old. He's old as fuck. He's got 18 grandkids up there, and he's like, yeah, because I got all the way up to the gate. I was like, got it. So, but yeah, the Criterion, it's all right.
It's not my favorite.
Jones Assembly. Have you seen anybody see or play at Beer City yet, next to the Flycatcher?
No, I haven't. I've looked in the doors. But
Yeah.
Next
our old bass player, who's actually a guitar player, but he was playing in an Anthrax cover band that played there. Here, just I mean, it was while we were having bike nights.
Right.
There,
Right.
know, but I've never been in it.
Yeah, I want. It's next time I see a show that's going on over there, and be like, Brian, come over and let's go watch a show over there, because it's actually not a bad venue. It's not too big.
I like
it's
the
not too small.
Tower. I like the Tower.
The Tower.
The Tower's
a
a nice
shows there.
Yeah. The Tower is what? Do you remember on 23rd there was that old movie theater, the old porn theater that they turned into a club at
Planet Earth.
Planet Earth. And then they tried to make it a music venue, but the floor was sloped like a theater.
Yeah.
So when they tried to make it a club and the floor is sloped like a movie theater, and
it does not work out very well.
It does not work out very well.
That's how Alcatraz was over on the south side, except
forgot about Alcatraz.
The pit area was level, you know.
Yeah, because
and
you
then
usually
they
have
had built in like a wooden floor, like raised, elevated kind of a.
What was that other metal venue on South Side that was like on 44th, and it's a Mexican place now, not a Mexican food, like a Mexican
like
club
venue.
or venue.
Well, Alcatraz was there.
Yeah, but
Western and
maybe that's what I'm thinking of.
Yeah, I think it's that one.
That is the one I'm thinking of, because there was another one over off Meridian and I-40, kind of over behind Applewoods for like.
Remember what the name of that one was?
A minute.
Meridian and 40.
Yeah, it was like over by the Biltmore.
Yeah,
I had a flyer. My dad went to go see somebody there. I can't remember who it was.
There was that Charlie's place or something. You remember it was like a red barn. And it was two levels.
Yeah,
it was
behind.
You know what?
Was a music venue.
Yeah,
that's what I'm thinking of.
Yeah, because it's
Charlie's
behind the
place.
McDonald's. It was just south of it. Yeah, because it was vacant forever. Okay, hold on. We're at 2 hours.
Damn.
There goes. Well, somebody bitches complain, not you, but him.
Hey, shut up.
Yeah. So, will you come back on and we can discuss more music and all that stuff? Okay.
Absolutely.
2 questions before you leave. Do you know how to play Freebird?
I don't.
Ha! All right.
But he does know how to play Stairway to Heaven.
I do.
Not
all of them.
Everybody knows how to play that one.
Yeah. Do you have it?
Hey, even I know how to play that one.
So my sister has been in a bunch of different bands. She's indie and all that shit, and that's good for her. But so for 1 year for her birthday, she wanted the 12-string. And my dad was like, well, you're going to help me buy it. And I said, yeah, but on the condition, because my dad was a drummer. He used to play Battle of the Bands and all that stuff.
On the condition she shaves.
Yeah.
Why you gotta be rude? She does listen, you asshole. No, I was on the condition she learns on the condition she learns how to play Stairway to Heaven. Because I would jokingly like when she would play like all these different places, I'd be like, Freebird!
You're right, of course.
Funny
Play some Freebird, some Scanners.
Scanner. Before we get off, I will tell you this story. So she was playing at Sauce over in the Paseo. She used to do like an open mic over there all the time. It was a 2-piece. Hers on the guitar, acoustic, and a guy playing the violin. And a couple of my work buddies for this firm I was working at wanted to go hang out. And I was like, well, I'm going to go watch my sister play some music. Do you guys want to go? What's in the Paseo? So there's cute ladies over there. And they're like, oh, yes. We go. My sister gets up. And this fucking jackass, she starts playing the melody of the Careless Whisper.
Yeah.
And we're like, okay, cool. She's just opening up and warming up. And she's like, she gets up and she goes, so I wrote a song the other day, and she was like, you know, I go through, develop it, do all the lyrics, get all the chords and everything. I wrote Careless Whisper. She's like, telling people I wrote Careless Whisper how many fucking years after it was originally written. And I was sitting there, and like the 2 guys I worked with, because I think Disturb had covered it at that point, and it was kind of recent, and they're like, what's up with your sister? And I was like, I don't know. I don't know what to tell you. But yeah, no, I made her learn how to play Stairway to Heaven when I got the 12-string for her.
Nice.
So I was like, you gotta, or I'm going to take that bitch back for your birthday. So, all right, Brian. So you work at the Chop Shop. Where can people find you on your Instagrams or your Facebooks
Instagram, OKC Chop Shop _Bryan.
Okay. I'm so glad I didn't fuck up. On Shelby's episode, I fucked up. Did you hear about that? I called him your name because I was thinking about you coming on. And I looked him dead in the eyes and went, okay, Bryan. I thought about it. Okay, Shelby. Where can they find you? So, all right. Well, thank you for coming on. Now we're going to go to
thanks for having me.
Yeah. All right. Now we'll talk about music.
Killer.
Yeah. Thank you. Lamb slaughter.
That's it.
Lamb slaughter.